in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endureth forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endureth forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of Israel.
The King of Kings.
The King of Kings.
And Lord of Lords.
And Lord of Lords.
One true God.
The one true God.
There is no other.
There is no other.
Amen.
Amen.
My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thine heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy neighbor and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance, and with the first fruit of all thine increase. I have just read to you Proverbs 3, verses 1 through 9. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.
Jesus, you're the center of my joy, my joy. All that's good and perfect come from you. You're the heart of my contentment, hope for all I do. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. When I lost my direction, you're the compass for my way. You are the fire and light when nights was warm and cold. In sadness, you were the laughter that shatters all my fears. When I was all alone, your hands was there to hold. Jesus, you're the center of my joy, my joy. All that's good and perfect come from you. You're the heart of my contentment, hope for all I do. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. In you is why I find pleasure in the simple things in life. You are the music, the meadows and the strings, the voices of the children, my family and my home. You are the source and finish of my highest dreams. And whoa, Jesus, you're the center of my joy, my joy. All that's good and perfect come from you. You're the heart of my contentment, hope for all I do. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. Thank you.
Amen.
All right. I'd say happy Sabbath to everybody. Definitely, it's good to be here once again in Jacksonville. Bring the word. Happy Sabbath. The reason why I said something earlier because I got a call a while back about the kids in Atlanta making a lot of noise, especially during question and answer Bible study. So we had to address one of the brothers. Probably know him. I ain't gonna say his name, but I'm sure you probably know him. And then last week, addressing the children during class and stuff like that, heard it all on video, you know what I'm saying? So it don't just come from anywhere, you know what I'm saying? It's people that actually listen and contact us and say they can't get through class without hearing somebody calling out their children's name and stuff like that. So just try to nip it in the bud because it's a small setting right now. But like I say, even in Atlanta, which is the biggest setting, you still, people still hear. So they were just saying they can't get through Bible study without the children. And that's with Israel, you're gonna have children. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Lord bless us with technology where we can have things showing up on the phone and stuff like that. Because I know people want to be in here to sit down and listen to the word, But it's all good. That's just part of having children. So you have to use whatever facilities like the lobbies and stuff like that that are made available just to sit there and listen to the word while it's on your phone. So nothing too major, nothing like that. But like I said, I just got word a few weeks back, so we just addressed a couple people, and we just want to make it known down here as well. However, we're gonna go and get into the word. As you can see from the title of the class, it's called Dark Sayings Open Upon the Harp. How? With parables. And when you look at the word of God, if you don't have understanding on the scriptures, it's more than likely a high chance. The reason why, because you ain't gonna be able to understand the Bible because the Lord got it in parables. You look at the Bible as a whole, it's just a big parable. And you got to be taught. Somebody got to teach you how to understand this Bible, But God also gives you a formula. But, Jesus himself let you know when he came, he was going to come dealing with parables, which we're going to look at today. But when we talk about these parables opened upon the heart, we just talking about he going to open up these parables in riddle form, in other words. And that's what he did. He came teaching and stuff like that. And sometimes he say things that fly right over the Pharisees and Sadducees' head. Sometimes they knew, talking about him. So they set out to kill Jesus. But you look at how we live in the world today. Simple things in the Bible. Jesus dying on Friday, getting up early Sunday morning. That's far from what he said in Matthew chapter 12. He said, the Son of Man gonna be in the heart of earth 3 days and 3 nights like Jonah was in the belly of the whale. So how they get, Friday evening, early Sunday morning, it's baffling, but really, they can't understand the Bible. And it just take you back to how God gave you a particular way to do it. He gave you a certain way on how you're supposed to understand the Bible. To the law, to the testimony, this is how you read it. You got the Old Testament, the New Testament. On top of that, you're going to need a teacher. Along with that, you're going to have some fear of the Lord. And you're going to have to keep his commandments. This is how the Lord is going to give you understanding on the Bible. That's when the parable of the Bible start making sense. But, this is why so many people think that the Bible is just symbolic. It ain't, hey, it's symbolic, but like I like to tell people, you keep reading, you're going to see that it's not just symbolic. Like for instance, Daniel chapter 7, the first 15, 16 verses, he give you symbols. The lion, the bear, the goat, if I'm mistaken, lion, bear, goat. Then he give you the dreadful and terrible beast, right? So now that is symbolic of something. That's symbolic of the four kings that's going to rise up out of the Gentile dynasty. But if you keep reading, though, you're going to see that it's more than just symbolic. It actually means something, you see. So that's how the Lord gave us the Bible. He gave it to us in a parable. And mainly, like I said, the reason why we have a hard time understanding it is because, we've been, taught to kind of deal with it outside of the formula. So you got all these different religions. Because of that, you got all these different doctrines. You got the Roman Catholic Church. It's a parable to them, so they just close the Bible and preach what they want to preach. That's where you get December 25th. That ain't in the Bible. Lord said, remember my death, didn't he? Passover, right? Well, somehow or another we got remember his birth. Because the Bible's a parable. The Lord got this thing sealed up. And it's going to be that way until the right people get on the job to preach the gospel. Then he start opening it up. So we're going to look at this today to get an understanding on some of these parables that he has in the Word. But we're going to start this off in Proverbs chapter 1, just to kind of give us keys to understanding these parables. Another way you can kind of categorize these parables, they would be like dark sayings. In other words, things that you just can't understand. That's why the Bible tell you about this man that's going to come in the end. He going to understand dark sentences. Like, for instance, the Pope. He understands dark sentences. What I mean by that is he understands the word. That's why when God get back, he's not going to have no mercy on him. He's just going straight to the lake of fire. Because he understands what the Bible says. He understands dark sentences. That's why you ever hear somebody say, well, they shed light on the situation. They made you, they done brought some understanding to you now. If no light was shed on this situation, guess what? It was still dark. But that's another name, another way you can categorize these parables as dark sayings. So let's look at some keys on how to understand it. Let's go into Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1. And I do advise that you take notes. Like I was saying last week in Atlanta, we don't just come to church for a formality. We don't just come to church to sit here and just keep the Sabbath day. We're supposed to actually learn stuff. You're supposed to actually be able to apply these different things when you put to the test. Which you're going to address some things later on after class. But Proverbs chapter 1, we're going to pick this up at verse 1. And when you get there, go ahead and read that for me.
The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment, and equity. Equity. To give subtlety to the simple.
Because that's what these Proverbs do. Like you say here, is to know wisdom. This is why Solomon let you know he put these down. Now, what a lot of people don't understand, that God, or Jesus, is the one that's speaking through the mouth of his prophets, all right? But it says to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment and equity, because these little Proverbs, they'll help you out. Little simple things. You go into the Bible, you go into to the book of Proverbs to tell you how what a son can do. One sentence he said, a son to make a father happy, his mother feel good about him and stuff like that. Or on the other hand, it tell you about a foolish son bringing shame to his mother and father. But this is all in Proverbs. Proverbs show you these different things. But he said what is to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man, knowledge and discretion. That's what happened. It makes somebody that ain't got no sense, make him seem like he's the smartest man in the world when you start dealing with not just Proverbs, but the Bible as a whole. Go ahead and read, brother.
A wise man will hear and will increase learning. And the man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel.
Keep reading.
To understand the proverb and the interpretation. The words
That's right. That's what you're going to do. It said, wise man will hear and will increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. Why? To understand the proverb and the interpretation. Keep reading.
to understand the proverb
I
and the
said that. Keep
interpretation.
reading, brother. The words.
The words of the wise and their dark sayings.
So notice what it says. He said the words of the wise and their dark sayings. Because that's really what parables are. If you can't understand. That's what, like I say, the Bible, it's like dark sayings. But it really ain't dark to people that got some understanding. He said to understand the proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. It may seem like it's so deep. Somebody come in here, talking to you about the book of Daniel. Like we were discussing this week on Facebook about the 2300 days. Hey, to everybody who don't know nothing about that, that seems like a dark saying. But the Proverbs, it'll give you understanding on that. But let's get to the formula on how you're going to get this understanding. What does it say? Verse 7.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
See, this is how it's all going to start. He said the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. This is how you're going to start to understand the Bible. So you got to have some fear. We've been taught that you ain't got to fear God. We've been taught that he's our personal savior, as if to say that he's our buddy, he's our friend. No, listen, when you respect somebody, you show some type of fear. So he say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. This is where your knowledge is going to start at. This is where you're going to start understanding the word of God. You got to have some fear. A lot of people, one person I know in particular, like my wife, she she first came to the word. She was saying, well, she felt kind of bad because she just feared, she felt like she's serving God because she feared him. Well, God ain't really all about the lip service. That's why they say, why call me Lord, Lord, and don't do the things I say. You can say you love God all day, but when the faith without works is dead. You got to put some actions behind, what it is you believe. When you fear somebody, you're going to show them some respect, right? That's like if you're a bully, you'll beat on anybody. Anybody smaller than you, jump on it. But somebody bigger come in or somebody got a weapon that can take you out, you're gonna be wise about what you say. You're gonna move around real smart now. It's gonna change because you got some fear. Well, with God, not to say he a bully, but you ain't gonna talk to him like you talk to everybody else. This is God. You gotta have some fear. So he say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. This is how your understanding will start. Keep reading.
But fools despise wisdom and instruction.
Yeah, that's right. They do. Let's go to Psalms chapter 7, because nobody really don't want the wisdom and understanding of the Bible. Everybody, in a sense, really just want to do it their own way. And that's what the preachers kind of promote. They kind of, strengthen that mindset that the Holy Ghost is what's going to teach you. But now you're going to have to fear God. That's where this knowledge is going to first start. This will begin your journey to understanding the plan of God. Psalms chapter 7, it all starts with fear. Go and pick this up in verse 1. What did they say, brother?
Give ear, O my people, to my law.
See, this is another thing that you're going to need. Because we're looking at the keys to understanding these dark sayings. We see that it started out with some fear, right? But it ain't just fear. What's going to show, what's going to be your proof that you fear God? He said, give ear, O people, to my what?
To my law.
To my law, the thing that everybody's doing away with. You got to give in to the Lord's law. And do what?
Incline your ears to the words of my mouth.
Right, so it ain't inclining your ears to Nate's mouth. You know what I'm saying? It ain't inclining your ears to what all these preachers are saying. It's inclining your ears to the word of God. He said, incline your ears to the words of my mouth and what?
I will open my mouth in a parable.
See, this is Jesus talking. Here in the book of Psalms, that's why we tell a lot of people, you get understanding on the word, you'll see that Jesus is actually speaking through the mouth of David in the book of Psalms. But he's telling you what he's going to do in the future. He said, I will open my mouth in a parable. He's talking about when he come in the future. That's why when he came, we're going to see that he was speaking in different parables. But he said, I'm going to open my mouth in a parable. And what else?
I will utter dark sayings of old.
Right, so when I come, in other words, I'm going to utter dark sayings of old. In other words, things that was written in the Old Testament, when he come in the flesh, when he get here, I'm going to say things. I'm going to start uttering these things that was already written a long time ago. But this is what the Bible is showing you, how we serve a God that called the end from the beginning. See, Jesus is letting you know right here how he gonna get down when he come in the flesh. He said, I'm gonna open my mouth in the parable, I'm gonna utter dark sayings of old, things that they couldn't understand. But he gonna break it down how? In parables. Keep reading them.
Which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us.
That's right, go ahead.
We will not hide them from their children, showing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he had done.
Right, and that's what he did when he came. He would say different things, shed light on the situation in a sense, but he do it in parables. things that they knew about. Why do you think when he was dealing with the disciples, they didn't understand certain things, but at the same time, they was looking for Jesus. The disciples, believed him. After a while, they realized who he was, and they started lining things up, and he started opening things up, and they understanding as far as what was said from the fathers in the Old Testament. He started making things clear for them. But he was telling you he's going to do that way back in Psalm 78. Turn over to Isaiah chapter 6. Because, like I said, we're still trying to find the keys to understanding these dark sayings. The parables are here. They're in the Bible for a reason, but, they mean something. It ain't just it ain't like the Lord just came as a trickster or something, but just trying to joke people, play jokes on people. Now, he said some things, but it has some meaning to it, but it just went over their head. And they're going to ask him, well, why are you talking in parables? Why you can't just come straight out? He's going to let you know, though. But let's see what it says right here, Isaiah chapter 6. Why is it that most people can't understand? Isaiah 6, and pick this up at verse 9. What does it say, brother?
And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not.
That's right, keep reading.
And see ye indeed, but perceive not.
Right, so he said they hear indeed, but they understand not. You see? And that's what we dealing with mainly now today. They hear the word. You can hear somebody tell you that the Lord gonna be in the hot earth 3 days and 3 nights, but they still can't understand it though. We can see that the Lord said, remember the Sabbath day. Somehow or another, they're still gonna flip the Sunday. Because they hear ye indeed, but they don't understand not. But it's simple things that they don't understand. He said they hear ye indeed, but understand not. And what else?
And see ye indeed, but perceive not.
Right, because it's like blurry to them. Even though you can see it, you still can't perceive. You still can't comprehend it. But what did he say, verse 10?
Make the heart of this people fat, and make their eyes heavy, and shut their eyes.
Right, and it ain't like God just trying to hold the word from people. It's a reason why the preachers can't understand it. It's a reason why they filling up all these churches and ain't getting no word. Why the Bible's being shut. He said, make the heart of this people fat and make their eyes heavy and shut their eyes. Lest what?
Lest they see with their eyes.
Right. So you got to be willing to see with your eyes. You're gonna have to, you're gonna have to humble yourself to the Lord. Like we just saw. It's a class right there, bro. You saw that you gotta fear the Lord. You know what I'm saying? You gotta incline your ears to His law. This is how the Lord gonna start allowing you to see it. He said, what? Lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears. This is something you gonna have to do. See, the word has always been here. The Bible been around for a long time, but nobody really wants to keep the formula. Now you have a few of us that's doing it, but when you look at how many people in the world, hey, that's a drop in the bucket. But who really want to keep God's law? Well, got no problem keeping the laws of the boss. Ain't got no problem keeping the laws of the government, the system. Doggone well, you run a red light, you going to jail, or you gonna get a ticket, I should say. Matter of fact, if you go too fast on the highway, you going to jail. You going 100 miles an hour, 70 mile per hour speed zone. They ain't even taking you. They ain't giving you no ticket. They gonna get you out the car. We ain't take you to jail for reckless driving, man. But since you know that, you're not gonna sit up there and do that, right? But you're gonna be wise about it. You're gonna try to stay within the speed limit. See, we ain't got no problem doing keeping man's law. When it comes to God, we got a problem doing that. This is why He ain't gonna allow you to understand the Bible. This is why to the whole world the Bible is like in parables. But you got to do something. You got to humble yourself, in other words, and submit to the order. Whatever God tell you to do, hey, you just got to do it. He said, lest they see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and what else?
And understand with their heart, to convert and be healed.
Yeah, because you got to be healed. A lot of people understand that the world is sick, though. But going to Matthew chapter 13, we just looking at these different things that God has set up for us to understand these parables. How we gonna understand it? Matthew chapter 13. Matthew 13. We're going to pick this up at verse 10. If you get too cold, then y'all can turn it up a notch. I just turn it on. It felt like it's hot. Matthew 13 and verse 10. All right, go and read that for me, brother.
And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables?
Now remember now, in the book of Psalms, like I told you, that was Jesus that was doing the talking. So his disciples are asking him, now, why are you speaking in parables? Go ahead, what did he say?
He said, and he answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven.
That's right, keep reading.
But to them it is not given.
Right, so he said, because I speak to them in parables, because it's given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom. Unto them it's not given. So when you look at these parables, yeah, it's parables, but it all point to something. That's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at what these parables actually mean. You see? But this is why he came talking in prayer. He said what? Psalm 70, he said, I'm going to utter dark sayings of old. We're going to reveal to them the things that our fathers have spoken and show to them the generations to come. But this is why he's doing it, because unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom. That's why we can understand things in the Bible. But, without you keeping the law, without you keeping the Sabbath days, dietary law, all the different things, you ain't understand the Bible. Then you had to get taught. Then you had to get with the right people to get the word broke down to you and stuff like that. But it required you humbling yourself. And what I mean by that is you have to let go of that Christmas. You got to let go of that Easter. You got to let go of all these different traditions that have been given to us in order for God to start making this thing make sense to you. If you don't do it, guess what? It's still going to be, it's like dark. It's still coming. So he said, because it is given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Verse 12.
For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. And he shall have more abundance.
So listen, just keep that in mind. Whatever God gives you, you need to increase that. He said, for whosoever hath, to him shall be given. That's like the parable that he had with the talents, right? The parable of the talents. Remember that guy, he had 5 talents? And then when God came back, he had what? He had increased that to 10 talents. Then you had another one had 2 talents. When God came back, he had 4 talents, right? So they had increased what God gave them. Not necessarily saying you got to go out to the streets and preach and stuff like that, but these fruits of the spirit that you got, you need to be increasing. That joy, that meekness, that kindness, that love, and that charity, all that stuff. Hey, that stuff need to be developed. You can't be the same way 10 years down the line. You got a problem with your attitude. You know what I'm saying? You still the same way 10 years later. You got to work on this stuff. This stuff got to increase. You got to do whatever God gives you, you got to increase it. But you also had, on the other hand, you had one that had 1 talent. And what he did with that 1 talent, he put it in the ground and hid it. And God came back and asked, Jesus asked him, what you do with the talent I gave? He said, well, I knew you were an austere man, So I just took that talent and hid it. So when you came back, I'll still have what belonged to you. Now the Lord said you should at least, gain some inches off of that talent. So let me get what you got, give it to somebody who can do something with it, and you're going to hit that 5. You see what I'm saying? So you got to do something with what you got. You can't just sit there and say, well, I'm good with keeping the law. No, you got to increase this stuff. Not to say that keeping the law is a problem, but you got to change as a person yourself. That's what he means here when he say, for whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whosoever have not what?
From him shall be taken away, even that he has.
That's right. Go ahead.
Therefore speak I to them in parables.
Oh, so because of this, he say, what I speak to them in parables. Keep reading, brother.
Because they seeing, see not.
Oh, so we just saw that in Isaiah, didn't we? He said, because they seeing, they see not. Even though they see it, they don't understand it. You can have you can call one of the biggest preachers in the United States in there and tell him to go read Daniel chapter 8. He can see it though, but he ain't gonna understand it. He gonna say, you know what, that is pretty deep. We just gonna go and close this and just pray about it and ask God to lead you. Because that's what he said. He said what? They seeing and see not. What else he say, brother?
And hearing, they hear not. Neither do they understand.
Oh, see, they don't understand it though. Why? Because the Lord has given it to them in parables. But once you start sticking to the formula on how God told you to read this Bible and stuff, to the law, to the testimony, you got to have some fear now. Don't forget that. Keeping his commandments. What he say? Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. Give ear to my law. You start doing that stuff, hey, God will make sure he'll make this thing plain to you. It ain't that hard though. You just got to do what the formula is set out for us to do, and you'll be all right. He'll give you understanding on it. Verse 14.
And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Messiah.
Because we just read about Isaiah, right? So now Jesus coming, letting you know, hey, it's fulfilled pertaining to what Isaiah said about them. He said, in them is fulfilled the what?
The prophecy of Isaiah.
So we just talking about Isaiah. It's just giving it to you in another language. It don't translate it. So don't let nobody tell you names can't translate. We'll take you to in Revelation. You got Satan, they call him Apollyon. In another tongue, it's called Hebrew tongue. I'll look at that. I'm going to find it for you. But just showing you that names do translate. Like here, right here, this is just talking about Isaiah. We read it before we came. But you got it here is spelled with E, right? It's Esaias. But we still talking about Isaiah. That's why we read that first to show you. But names do translate. Go ahead and read. What else?
Which saith, by hearing you shall hear. And shall not understand.
That's right. So no matter what, they gonna hear, but they still ain't gonna understand. Keep reading.
And seeing you shall see.
Even though you see it, what?
And shall not perceive.
You ain't gonna perceive. It ain't gonna make no sense to you. Still gonna be blind to you. All right, so now let's go over to go to 15. I'm sorry.
For this people's heart is wax gross,
Mm-hmm.
and their ears are dull of hearing.
What did he say? He say, for this people, hard as wax gross. Like I say, it ain't like he trying to do it. He don't want to, stop you from getting the word, but their heart has got puffed up. He said these people hard as wax gross, and what else?
And their ears are dull of hearing.
Their ears are dull of hearing. They can't hear. But it's something that they've decided not to do, not trying to hear it. You come to them with the word of God, hey, they can't hear it. Mm-hmm. Let them know some of the things, you can't eat that pork. They don't want to hear it. Well, my pastor said we can eat anything that's prayer. Mm-hmm. You see, their ears are dull of hearing, so because of that, they can't understand the Bible. He said, for this people heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their ears are what?
And their eyes have they closed.
Right, so notice what he said. He said, their eyes, they have closed. Yeah, he told you they'll see it, won't be able to understand it, hear it, won't be able to perceive it, things like that. But notice what's happening here. He said their eyes, they have closed. We're just talking about your spiritual eyes. Somebody come and bring you the word, you can understand it, but somewhere or another, you still fight. Mm-hmm. He said their eyes, they have closed, and what else?
Lest at any time they should see with their eyes.
And that's when you decide to say, you know what, hey, I'm gonna listen to what you got to say. I sit down, let me go read it. Well, you're right, it does say that. We can't eat pork, okay. It does say that we got to remember Saturday, so maybe I'll try it. You see, now they start opening their own eyes. He said, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and what else?
And hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart.
Right, see, it's all on you, though. You got to do it. You got to want to do this in order for you to understand the Bible. See, it's always been here. You think about it, the Bible been here for a long time. But we can't when you take that law off the table, now you're going to that's your understanding right there. You take that fear off the table, that's your understanding. We saw that the fear of the Lord is what? The beginning of knowledge. But we've been told that we don't got to fear God. We've been told that he our personal savior. It's like he your homeboy. You can just call him up when you need him. But you ain't got to do nothing he say. You ain't got to listen to him. You ain't got to keep his law. We ain't got to do nothing. But when you need something, you can call him. He going to come. That ain't God in his Bible. That's another Jesus that Paul warned you about. So you got to do something when it comes to serving this guy. He said, lest at any time they should hear with their, see with their eyes and hear with their ears and should understand with their heart and should be converted. And what else?
And I should heal.
And he should heal. But now let's go over to Matthew chapter 22 and let's start looking at some of these parables. Matthew chapter 22. We're going to start looking at some of these parables right quick. And I'm going to show you where I told you that name translate. See, some years ago, we used to hit the streets in Atlanta, man. I'm talking about I was like a machine gun, boy. They used to call me the guillotine, boy, because I chop your head off with that word, man. I can spit scriptures like it wasn't nothing. I got a little older now, and I forget. So I rely on this so much, so I go in here and show you where it's at. It's in here, though. I can't remember right now, but I can pull it off my phone. I thank God for Google. And all these smartphones. Shoot, man. That's why you got to keep on, you got to stay in the Bible, man. People try to read the Bible and think they can, it's Revelation 9 and 11. That's why I was telling you, in case somebody tell you that names don't translate. Just like we just saw with Isaiah, it translated. And you're going to hear that doctrine out there. Yeah, let's go look at it. I mean, it ain't a part of the lesson, but if I say something, I don't want to leave it out there. Revelation 9 and 11. But you got to stay in the Word. You got to keep on studying the Word, because if you don't, hey, that's why I tell you about that light being taken away from you. You see? And I'm telling you, as man, you try to hold on to it, but you stop studying. Believe me, you're going to get older and older every day. That memory going to start going. So to keep your senses exercised, you stay in the Word of God. But just to prove to you what I said, Revelation 9, read verse 11 for me.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit.
Right, so we're just talking about this kingdom that's about to rise, which is Rome. They're going to have a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. We just talking about Satan. What it say?
Whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon.
So in the Hebrew tongue, his name is Abaddon, right? But we still talking about Satan, but his name is Abaddon in the Hebrew tongue. What else?
But in the Greek tongue, hath his name Apollyon.
Oh, but in the Greek tongue, his name is what? Apollyon, right? Mm-hmm. So like I was telling you, names do translate, just like we just saw with Isaiah. It just translated to Isaias. You see what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. Put that on as a side note. Just learning something as we move forward in case somebody tell you. Because you're going to have these overzealous Hebrews out there, just people, period, that don't understand the Bible because it's a parable. They try to tell you that names can't translate. So Jesus, we shall be calling him. You know what I'm saying? But it just go back to Yeshua, Joshua. You see what I'm saying? So just have that as some, some type of proof to kind of cut somebody in case they come at you. But now let's go over to Matthew chapter 22. Matthew chapter 22. Matthew 22. We're going to pick this up at verse 1. We're going to start looking at some of these parables. Matthew 22 and verse 1. Go and read that for me, brother.
And Jesus answered and spake unto them again by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding.
Now notice what he's likening this to now, right? He's talking about the kingdom of heaven, right? He's giving you an example of what it is. He said the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son, right? So just understand this. We talk this would be like the father making a marriage for his son Jesus. All right. That's why he told you the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son. Keep reading, brother.
And sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding.
Right. So he sent forth the servants. In this case right here, we be talking about the prophets. He sent forth the servants to go get the prophets to go let Israel know, hey, you need to get yourself together. Because the Lord had tried to have mercy on Israel. You understand? But he sent for a prophet. He sent forth Isaiah, Zechariah, Daniel, Moses. You see what I'm saying? He sent all these different prophets to let them know to get ready for the wedding. That's what he's talking about. Because remember now, Jesus, when he came, yeah, he talking to the disciples, but you still had these haters there. We call them that today. But they still his kinfolk. We might have friends and stuff like that, but you still got them haters that's around trying to, catch you up, trying to get you to fall. Well, the Pharisees and Sadducees, they were trying to catch Jesus up. But they still was Hebrews, you see? But that don't mean nothing because Jesus, Jesus railed on them, man. Jesus told them, you are your father the devil. They was like, man, Abraham our father. They was like, Jesus said, no, you are your father the devil. Even though Abraham was their father. That go to show you it don't matter if you were, just because you Israelite in the flesh. That really don't make a difference at the end of the day. Now, as far as administering the gospel, preaching the word, setting an example for the world, that's very important. But at the same time, we still got to change just like everybody else got to change. You see, that's the whole reason why Paul was preaching to the Gentiles, to teach them about believing in Jesus. And then when the writer wrote Hebrews, this was letting them know, we ain't gonna say who that was. Some people like to say it's Paul. We ain't gonna say that right now. We just gonna leave that alone until the Lord shows us who it is. He said we know in part of prophesying, Paul, but we know definitely the ones that was writing to those in the Gentile nation was Paul. But when you get over to Hebrews, it switch up and tell you, the law of animal sacrifices couldn't save you, right? Because the Hebrews were still holding on to that. But when you look at the book of Hebrews, that was all there to let them know, yeah, I understand we did this. I understand we killed animals. We sacrificed animals and stuff. Take it all the way back to the priesthood, how they did things in Leviticus. But Jesus done came now, so you got to believe in him. You see, that's what the letter was to those Hebrews. Just like Paul was writing to the Gentiles and letting them know they got to believe in Jesus. So no matter if you're in the flesh, whether you're a Hebrew or Gentile, the ultimate goal is what? We got to believe in Jesus. That's the ultimate goal. So he said in verse 3 here, they sent forth the servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, that they would not. Hey, the ones that was called to the wedding, that in a sense, they automatically had a front row seat. They wouldn't come. Go ahead and read, brother.
Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner.
Right, so tell the ones that are bidden, or the ones that are invited, you see. And then we're going to look at and see who this is that was invited to the wedding. In other words, they automatically supposed to be at this wedding. You see? He said, again, he sent forth other servants saying, Tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. What else?
My oxen and my fatlings are killed.
That's right, keep reading.
And all things are ready. Come unto the marriage.
So you ain't got to bring no plate. You ain't got to, it ain't no potluck or nothing. All you got to do is come to the wedding. It's already ready for you, right? That's all they had to do. And another reason we're going to look at this is because a lot of brothers like to use this parable right here to say, this is why we going off into the highways and the byways to preach to Israel. Well, we're going to really get understanding on this parable. All right, but now let's go over to Jeremiah chapter 3. Let's see who this is that was bidden to the wedding. We're going to come back here. Jeremiah chapter 3. Because all he told him, he said, all he got to do is what? All he got to do is come. Come to the wedding. That's it. That's your iPhone? That's yours? Put it on silent. See them old fancy iPhones? I'm good with my hands. I know how to work the silent one. It's all good. All right, but like I said, he told them all they got to do is come to the wedding. You ain't got to do nothing. And it's always been this way with Israel. But we're gonna look at it. Jeremiah chapter 3. Go and pick this up at verse 12. All right, go ahead and read that for me, brother.
Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, "Return, thou backsliding Israel," saith the Lord.
Right. So this is what the Lord is. Matter of fact, we seeing the prophets going to them just like he gave that parable. We seeing the servants go to Israel. One of the ones we seeing is Jeremiah. He said, "Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, Return, thou backsliding Israel, saith the Lord." Now do what?
And I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you. For I am merciful, saith the Lord, and I will not keep anger forever.
Right, so just keep in mind, the Lord talking to Israel. And Israel is his people, and even though we're in a bad situation, hey, the Lord still going to have mercy on us. That's why you start to see the Lord have mercy on Israel and wake them up, and they start to preach the gospel and do things that they're required to do in the first place. But he ain't going to be mad at him forever. But notice what he gonna like in this how he gonna like in this relationship. He said, "I'm merciful, saith the Lord, and I will not keep anger forever." Keep reading, verse 13.
Only acknowledge thine iniquity.
But he said, "What? You just gotta acknowledge your sin. That's what you gotta do when you come before the Lord. Period." That's why you look at Daniel chapter 9. Daniel was, confessing the sins of himself and his people. Before he sought the Lord to get understanding on how long they're gonna be in captivity. But that's a wise way for you to pray. Acknowledge your sin first. But he telling them, he telling Jeremiah to let them know, hey man, I ain't gonna keep anger forever. I'm gonna be merciful for you. Merciful for unto you. All you got to do is acknowledge your iniquity. That what?
That thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy God. And hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree.
Because we are in every doctrine now. You think about it. Wherever you see a doctrine that we at. Even in the doctrine where we weren't invited, we there, Mormons. You weren't supposed to be a part of that. But you still going to find us riding bicycles, knocking on doors nowadays, because we everywhere. You see? Mormons said that we was cursed from God. That's how we got dark skin. But yet still we're a part of that. He said what? Hey, he said that thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy God and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree. Wherever an idol was at, wherever false worship is concerned, today you see us there. That's how it was back then. Keep reading, brother.
And ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord.
But he said, do what? You got to turn. See, this is the part of you repent. Like he said in the beginning of 13, acknowledge thine iniquity. You got to confess your sins, brother. You got to say, hey, I done messed up. You know how you go into Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Before we can get to the end of to the root of the problem, somebody got to admit something, right? You got to say, my name is Brother Tony, and I am an alcoholic, right? So once we get past that, then we can figure out how to fix this thing, right? Not just saying, I'm just saying, I done been to Alcoholics Anonymous before, and I had to say it. But the point is, you got to acknowledge that you got a problem in order for it to be fixed. Well, that's what God is saying, that you got to acknowledge your iniquity. Then he said what? Verse 14, turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for what?
For I am married unto you.
See, you was already in the house. You see? You guaranteed at the wedding. He said, I'm married, and he talking about Israel. You see? But see, they fell off, and now the Lord sent his servant. He said, go get them that was bidden to the wedding, that was invited to the wedding. Even though you done messed up, I'm going to bring you back. He said, turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will do what?
And I will take you one of a city.
See, he giving you something in the future. Because see, they're in captivity right now. He said, what? I'm going to take you, I will take you one of a city. I'm going to grab one of y'all out of a city, and what else?
And two of a family.
What he going to do?
And I will bring you to Zion.
Right, so he telling you what he going to do in the future. This ain't happened yet. You read verse 15, he said, I'm going to give you pastors according to my heart. See, we just talking about something that's going to happen in the future. But if you notice what's going on right here, he said, I'm married unto you. See, Israel was already they invited to the wedding. First, they got first dibs. They in the house. You understand? So now let's go over to Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20. Let's look at this. Ezekiel chapter 20. Because see, the way this marriage unfolds, it's a covenant or an agreement between two or more people. In this case, we just talking about God and Israel. Made a covenant with them, so they automatically supposed to be a part of this this wedding that's going on. But, somehow or another, we figure out how to drop the ball. But that's why, and you see Jesus coming out and spitting parables on them. Ezekiel 20, verse 34. Read that, brother. What it say?
And I will bring you out from the people. And I will gather you out of the country.
Well, you can bring it up to 33. We can get an understanding on what's going on here. What that say?
As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with the mighty hand and with the stretched out arm and with fury poured out, I will rule over you.
Right, so now this is talking about the future. See, the Lord ain't came back yet, but Israel's in captivity. But even in the Old Testament, the Lord telling you what he's going to do in the future, right? So he said what? He said, as I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand, with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. So it ain't going to be old sweet Jesus that we've been taught about. When Jesus gets back, he coming back and he ain't playing no games. Let's keep reading, brother.
And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out from out of the countries wherein you are scattered.
Right, because see, this ain't happened yet. See, you ain't going to have Moses do it. See, Moses did it last time. That's why you look in the Old Testament, all that stuff, like a schoolmaster, a teacher, showing you about Jesus coming and how he going to do things when he get here. That's why when he came, some things they should have understood, but they didn't. It's all good. But the point is that he letting you know how this going to unfold in the future. He said, I'm going to bring you out from the people. Why he saying that? Because Israel is scattered among the people. They are out in worldwide captivity now. But he said, I'm going to bring you out from the people, and I'm going to gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered. And what else?
With the mighty hand and with the stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
That's right, keep reading.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people.
Oh, notice what he said. He said, I'm going to bring you into the wilderness of the people. What wilderness we talking about? We're talking about the wilderness that Israel went through the first time. When Israel was in bondage to the Egyptians, the Lord delivered them out of Egypt. And guess what he did? He took them back them into the wilderness. See, before you go into Israel, the Lord taking you into the wilderness. If you get up at the first resurrection, whatever, mortal body, you ain't got to worry about that. But if some people that's going to live, Israelites that's going to live, then you can have some nations that's going to join also. But guess what? You got to go to the wilderness. See, people thinking that, you're going to die and go to heaven or you going straight to the promised land. No, you ain't walking right to the promised land. What's going to happen is he's going to take them right back to the wilderness. This is where the disagreement going to take place. This is where he's going to lay all his laws out at. And then once this agreement is done, then they walking into the promised land. But he got to get that sin up off of you first. That's why Israel got kicked out in the first place. Because Israel is a holy land, you see. And they defiled it and the Lord kicked them out. So he said, I'm going to bring you in the wilderness of the people. And then will I do what?
Will I plead with you face to face?
Right, he's not talking about begging and nothing like that. He's going to put it out there. You're going to do it or you ain't going to do it. But what he going to make reference to? Verse 37.
37. And I will cause you to pass.
Verse 36.
Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
Oh, see, notice what he said. He said, I'm going to plead with you face to face, like I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So what?
So will I plead with you, said the Lord God.
Right, he said, I'm going to plead with you also. So y'all go, you take it back to Egypt, where the Lord had brought the children of Israel out into the wilderness, right? And what he did to them when he got them to the wilderness? He brought Moses up there. Moses got them law, statutes, and commandments, and he came down there and gave it to the people. The people said, all the words that you have said, will we do and be obedient. And that brought them into a covenant. Well, guess what? Israel broke the covenant, and he sent them off in a worldwide captivity. But God said, we just saw in Jeremiah, he said, what? I ain't going to have this anger forever. All you got to do is what? Return thou, O backsliding Israel. Why? For I'm married unto you. So we're going to see this unfold all over again. What he said in verse 37?
And I will cause you to pass under the rod.
He said, I'm going to cause you to pass under the rod and do what?
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Oh, I'm going to bring you and I'm going to marry you all over again. You see? That's what he's going to do. I'm going to bring you right and we're going to get married all over again. Even though you done messed around and got with all these other lovers. You done scattered yourself under every green tree serving all these other gods. When I get back, we going back to the wilderness and I'm going to bring you back up under the bond of the covenant. And for those who don't want to come up under the covenant, I'm going to purge out the rebels. But Israel is the one that's got these first dibs. That's why he's talking about his servants who was sent to go call those who had been to the west. Turn back over to Matthew chapter 22. Matthew chapter 22. Now let's pick this up at verse 5. All right, go and pick that up for me, brother.
But they made light of it.
So we can start at 4 again.
Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner.
Mm-hmm.
My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage.
Right, so everything was ready. All they got to do is show up to the wedding, right? They say, come on to the marriage. Everything is already prepared for you. He said what? He said, I've killed my pigs.
I've killed my family.
He said, well, I killed my oxen, didn't he?
Oxen, yes, sir.
God don't deal with nothing unclean.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, I killed my oxen, my fatlings I killed. Then he said, all things are ready. God, what he somewhere in the Bible, he got to say something about some pig, right? Well, it's okay to eat it. He could have put a pig right here. He never did and never will. But we can eat oxen though. That's clean. You see? But he said, I made everything. Everything is ready for you. But instead of them coming, what they did, verse 5.
But they made light of it and went their way.
Go ahead.
One to his farm, another to his merchandise.
Hey, said, man, I got something I got to do, man. I ain't got time to come to his wedding, man. I got to go deal with my merchandise, man. I got to go to my farm, man. I got some animals out there. I can't really be dealing with it. Just give me some time. Let me go handle it and I'll get back to you. Go ahead. What else? Verse 6.
And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them.
So, and they got mad. You got servants coming telling you and warning you about things you shouldn't be doing. Really what didn't happen is you don't want nobody, putting salt in your game. So what it said they did. He said the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. But what Jesus is doing, he referring back to the Old Testament, what they did to him. He taking Hebrews how some people got killed for the word of God.
Yes,
Jeremiah got put in jail, got slapped by one of the high priests. For dealing with the word, for prophesying what the Lord said. What you think gonna happen to you? You start dealing with the word. Hey, we getting ready to start, man.
Yes,
we just talking this week. Well, we just saw this week where 23 nations have signed to go ahead and form the European Army.
Yes,
they just got to narrow down to 10. It's getting ready. What you think you're ready to start happening to us, man? We're gonna have to start dealing with things for the word of God, but it's not anything different. It's the same thing we see going on right here. But the Lord giving you this parable, he said, what? The remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them, verse 7.
But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth. And he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city.
That's right. That's eventually what's going to happen. He said what? The king, he heard it. He was mad. He sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. Though. Go ahead and read.
Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy.
But notice who he's talking to. See, he's talking to Israelites, talking to the disciples, but really, he giving these parables for those who, sin and can't and see not. For those who hear can't understand, because in a sense, he rather know. He's speaking to them in parables, though. But notice what he said. He gonna tell them. He said, "Go ye therefore into the highways." In other words, hey, go out to these other nations. Go get a word to other people that's going to want to do something with it. He said, go ye therefore into the highways and what else?
And as many as ye shall find, bid them to the marriage.
Right, so since Israel don't want it, go ahead and get some, go make the word available to everybody. You see? See, we use this right here. We say, we got to go out to the streets and go preach to Israel. Now, this ain't what it's talking about. Now, it ain't nothing wrong with us going to the streets to preach, which we do in Atlanta. That ain't nothing. We do that. We like doing it, matter of fact. But the point is, this ain't what this is talking about. This here is really inviting to the wedding. They don't want to show up. So the Lord said, what? Go out to the highways and byways and bid them to come on to the marriage. I got some room left. He said, go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. What else?
So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good.
Right. So whoever go receive it, just let them know. Keep reading.
And the wedding was furnished with guests.
The wedding was ready. The wedding was furnished with guests now, because the wedding is getting ready to go down. He said it was furnished with guests. Keep reading, verse 11.
And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, Friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless.
Right. So and that be that one that automatically think I'm supposed to be here. Like Israel, we think just because we Israel, we're going to automatically be saved. Now, the Lord letting you know here, he said, what unto him? How did you get in here not having on a wedding garment? He said he was speechless, man. Like I said, everybody got to come about it the same way. Now, Israel got a job to do, but we still got to come about getting the salvation the same exact way. It ain't automatic like our forefathers thought when they was like, we Abraham's seed. We not a fornication. We Abraham's seed. What Jesus, he said, you have your father the devil. just because you're Israel, that don't mean you automatically gonna get into the kingdom.
Yes, sir.
So he's saying he was speechless. What else? Verse 13.
Then said the king to the servant,
Uh-huh.
bind him hand and foot.
Notice what he's saying to the servants now. The ones who was getting beaten, or the ones were not necessarily getting beaten. The ones that was going out there getting the people like the Lord told them. But it's still the servants that's going to get this glory. That's what I want you to see, though. See, the servants are the ones that's going to be, like it tell you in Psalm chapter 148, I think it's 148 and 149, they the ones that's going to have a two-edged sword in their mouth, and in their right hand, taking down the kings of the world. They tell you that. But he's showing you here, he said, then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and feet and do what?
And take him away. And cast him into outer darkness.
Cast him into outer darkness and what?
There should be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
But that's a lake of fire.
Yes, sir.
But what's the point of the parable? What it say?
For many are called.
See, it's many of us are called. A lot of people are called to the word of God, but what though?
A few are chosen.
A few are chosen. Though. See, the Lord put the word out there for everybody to get. There's no excuse. You see? That's why I say this gospel gonna be preached throughout the whole world. Then the end gonna come. You know why? Because ain't nobody gonna have no excuse. Can't nobody say, well, I didn't know about it. Can't nobody say that. Ain't nobody teach me. I didn't know that the Sabbath day was on the 7th day of the week. I didn't know I couldn't eat no pork. I didn't know I couldn't eat no catfish. Listen, this Bible is what's going to be your witness against you or what's going to help you. You see, it's a two-edged sword. It can cut you and get you, humble you enough so you serve God to get into the kingdom, or you can get, you can puff yourself up against the word and end up in the lake of fire. But he said, what? For many are called, but few are chosen. And when you see it all the way through, you finish this whole race and you get into the kingdom. That's how you know you was chosen. But now let's go over to Luke chapter 14. It's more than just getting into the race and then you get halfway in and you quit. That's like that ambassador. He got 10,000 soldiers and he finna go to war. He look on the other side and he see they got 20,000 soldiers. He say, well, I think we can handle it. And then when he get halfway into the battle, he look over there and wait a minute. I'm going to send an ambassador over there. Yeah, the king. He going to send an ambassador. I'm going to send you over to that other king and let him know, man, we can't fight because he got 20,000. We only got 10,000. You done jumped off into the war now. You know what I'm saying? You think that king going to have some mercy? Nah, man. Well, just like with this word, understand, man, it's a battle. You can't get off into the word. You get halfway throughout the fight. You know what I'm saying? And you get tired and say, I don't want to do it no more. No, you got to see it all the way through. That's why I tell you, many are called. There's a lot of people, even in the word of God, we see people coming to the word. They be so happy about it. They be dealing with it for a while. Next thing you know, they fall off. That lets you know, man, hey, maybe they wasn't chosen. You understand? You got to finish the process, just like it is when you building a house. He give you another parable about when a house is being built. Just think about it nowadays. You finna go get you a new house. You tell your family and everything. They come see it. I remember back in the day in Jacksonville, we first got our house built off Dunn Avenue. Big old house. Out there in Biscayne. Everybody coming out there. That's when the boom was taking off in Dunn Avenue around the late 80s, early 90s. A lot of black folks moving over to the north side. Now everybody running from the north side. That's crazy to me. But we had the foundation set, calling everybody to come see that. They coming to see this big old house getting built over there, man. Just think, in the middle of that, we can't afford it no more. Man, everybody gonna start railing on you, boy. What happened, man? We thought you was going to get this house built. Well, that's the same with the word. You done tell, matter of fact, he give you that example, how you start building the house, and then you just stop. Because in other words, you ain't got the means to finish. Well, don't let that be the same with your walk. See, those are material things. Now, you can recover from those. But you can't recover from walking away from the word of God. You understand? You come to this thing, you need to make sure this is what you want to do and see it all the way through. But now let's go over to... let's see here, Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14. Because it's going to have to be all about you taking up your cross, man. When it's all said and done. But he's going to give you the parable about that. Luke chapter 14. Yeah, I remember that back in the day. Like I said, that big old housing boom took place over there, man. And everybody was getting houses built. Everybody getting houses built, competition going on between black folks and stuff like that. And boy, I'm telling you, and we got in the middle of it when my dad was about to stop getting the house built too. Somehow or another, though, he kept going. But I just let me know, some things just be better if you leave it alone. You can't afford to just leave it alone because we end up selling the house anyway. But Luke chapter 14, pick it up at verse 16. What that say, brother?
Then said he unto him,
Uh-huh.
a certain man made a great supper and bade many,
Uh-huh. Keep reading.
and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready.
Uh-huh. So now we're going back to, looking at it a different way, right? He said, a certain man said, made a great supper and bade many, called many to come now. And he sent his servants at supper time to say to them that were being come, for all things are now ready. I mean, you got it made, man. You ain't got to do nothing. All you got to do is show up to eat. Go ahead and read.
And they all with one consent began to make excuse.
Uh-huh.
The first said unto him, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs to go and see it. I pray thee, have me excused.
Right, so they're making all these excuses, man. You got the first one say, look, hey, I want to be there, but I bought a piece of ground. I must needs go and see it. I need to go tend to it. I pray thee, can you just have me excused? I need to go see this ground that I bought. Go ahead and read verse 19. What he said?
And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I have go to prove them. I pray thee have me excused.
Right, I got these oxen I need to go see. I need to go prove them. I need to check and see how fat they are. Make sure they ain't sick and that. I just got some things I need to do with these animals I just purchased. Can't you just give me some time? I'll get back to you. Go ahead and read verse 20.
And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come.
Oh, another one said, man, I got a wife, man. I got to go deal with her, man. Don't let these women get you caught up now when it comes to serving God. Same with brothers and sisters. Don't let your mates get you to fall from serving God now. He giving you this example for a reason. He said, what? And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. Hey, you got to choose God, or you got to choose her. Go ahead and read verse 21.
So that servant came and showed his Lord these things.
He came and told his Lord all these different excuses that was made. He said that servant came and showed his Lord these things. Then what?
Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor.
Oh, he said, go out. Listen, you know what? Don't even worry about that. Go out to the streets. He said, go out quickly into the streets and the lanes of the city. And what else?
And bring in hither the poor.
That's right. Go get the poor. See, now we finna go out and get other people. Go get the poor, the ones who don't got the word. We're not talking about physically maimed or physically poor. We're talking about these ones who ain't even got this word. Go get them. See, like I told you, Israel was in-house, man. They already had it. So he said, what? Go out into the streets and the lanes of the city and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and what else?
And the blind.
Keep reading.
And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant,
he said, hey, it's done like you commanded me, but we still got some room left. Keep reading.
Go out into the highways and the hedges.
Oh, so go out to the highways. Go out to the highways and to the hedges. This is what it's talking about, y'all. See, they ain't talking, like I said, they ain't talking about us. We just wake up and we feel we got to go out to the streets and start yelling at people. That ain't what this talking about. You see, it's a parable, and Israel can't even understand the parable. Because we everybody want to get out in the streets and put these signs up and cuss out white folks. That's not. If anything, you understood it. It's actually about going out there and bringing the other nations in. That's what it's about. We're using it in the wrong way. He said, go out to the highways and hedges and compel them to do what?
To come in. That my house may be filled.
That's right. Keep reading.
For I say unto you, that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper.
Oh, that made the Lord mad, boy. He said the ones that was bidden ain't going to taste of my supper. So you supposed to automatically have. You got this invitation for you to be there. All you got to do is show up. Everything is already cooked. But since you don't want it, you ain't going to taste of my supper. Go out there and get everybody else that want to have a part and do with this. Keep reading, brother.
And there went great multitudes with him.
Wait a minute. He's saying there went great multitudes with him, right? Go ahead and read.
And he turned and said unto them, if any man come to me.
Right, so notice what Jesus now saying to them. He said, if any man, not just Israel, he topped it off. He said, if any man come to me, what?
And hate not his father.
Go ahead.
And mother and wife.
That's right, so you got to put them oxen down. You got to put that land down. You got to put that wife to the side when it comes to serving. He's not saying that you go home and say, I hate all of y'all. I wish all of y'all would die. He ain't saying that. He's saying when it comes to serving me, man, you got to pick me over them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When it comes to the job, guess what? You got to pick me over the job. He said, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children, what else?
And brethren. And sisters.
That's right. So is he telling you to hate your family? No, he's just letting you know, listen, you got to prioritize this thing. Put this thing in priority. Who's going to come first? Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your wife, and friends going to come first? Or is God going to come first? You see, when everybody around the table, getting ready for December 25th, I can't be there. Why? Because I serve God.
Yes, sir.
I can't take part in this. And I know everybody, people try to make say, well, Thanksgiving. Listen, that's all wickedness. Let's stop playing with it. That's all. In a few weeks, people gonna be like, okay, well, you can do Thanksgiving. Listen, when Jesus get back, he ain't taking part in that. He gave you a Thanksgiving. He gave you tabernacle.
Yes, sir.
See, Satan try to switch things around. They stamp Thanksgiving on like God got some. What does God got to do with a table full of pig and ham? Come on now. But see, we still want to have our foot out there in the world also and serve God. Let's stop playing with it. No, you shouldn't be taking part in Thanksgiving. Because it's wicked just like everything else. Just like all other pagan holidays. Yeah, it sounds good. It may make you feel good. Is Jesus going to be taking part in Thanksgiving when he get back? Hell to the no. Ain't got nothing to do with it.
Teach, Doc.
Go ahead and read, brother. What it say?
Yea, and his own life also.
So you're going to have to hate your own life also. I understand that, some things come up and it seems like it's important. I get that. I'm with you. But at the same time, we talking about everlasting life. We talking about becoming gods and running this whole world.
Mm-hmm.
A job ain't worth this, sisters and brothers. That's why he said you got to hate your own life. He said, if you don't do that, what?
You cannot be my disciple.
You can't be his disciple. Keep reading verse 27.
And whosoever does not bear his cross.
So whatever's bothering you, got to pick up. See, that cross represent burden and pain. Because that's what happened with Jesus, remember? He had to bear a cross. He had to get up there and die for the sins of man. Well, what you dealing with on a daily basis? You're going to have to bear your cross. You're going to have to bear it. You're going to have to go through it in order to serve God. That's why he said, and whosoever did not bear his cross, talking about carrying his own cross and come after me, cannot be my disciple.
So,
I just got to take it. Whatever the end result of it is, I just got to take it, man. Why? Because I'm trying to serve God. I'm trying to be his disciple. Now let's go a little further. Let's go into Matthew chapter 8. Matthew chapter 8. Let's look at this one more time. Matthew chapter 8, we're going to pick this up at verse 5. All right, read that for me.
And when Jesus entered Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed.
So now let's just come back to verse 5. When verse 5 it says there came a centurion beseeching him, just begging him to heal his servant. Centurion is a Gentile. All right, he's over, and a centurion just means a person that's over 100 soldiers, and that's what he was a centurion. But in this case right here, he is a Gentile. All right, like you look at Cornelius, he was a Roman Italian over a centurion band. You see, but there was Gentiles in this case right here, right? Israel wasn't over nothing for the most part, but right here he's talking to a Gentile. All right, so he says here, when Jesus was entering into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him and saying, what?
Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy.
Right, so he had a servant that was home sick, right? But he had the right idea. He came to the Lord. He said, what? He lied at home sick of the palsy grievously tormented. Keep reading.
And Jesus said unto him, I will come here and heal him.
So the Lord let the centurion know, I'm going to come over there and heal him, So you got to take notes from these things. Why Jesus didn't rail on him and say, well, nah, it ain't for you. Now we know in one case where he talked to the Gentile woman when he told her, it's not necessary, it don't make sense for me to take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. And the woman, she said, well, even the dogs eat from eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. And the Lord turned around and healed the woman's daughter, But he just had an order on how he did it first. But you got another example right here where the Lord is now dealing with a centurion, a Gentile, somebody else outside of Israel. He came to Jesus to heal his servant. Go on and read. He didn't get mad at him. He ain't cuss him out. He ain't say salvation just for Israel. He ain't say that, did he? He said, I will come and heal him. Go on and read. Verse 8.
The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof.
Notice what he told Jesus, though. He said, I'm not worthy for you to come to my house. But what you do?
But speak the word only,
Uh-huh.
and my servant shall be healed.
But he had faith, though, didn't he?
Yes,
He had faith in Jesus. He said, if you just speak the word, my servant going to be healed. But what example he's going to give Jesus? What did he say, verse 9?
For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goeth. And to another, come, and he cometh. And to my servant, do this, and he doeth it.
That's right. So what he's saying is, he said, in other words, you know, all you got to do, God, is just speak the word. Because I do the same thing with my servants. I tell my servant to go, he go. I tell my servant to come, and he come. I believe if you tell your word to do that, it's going to do the same exact thing.
Yes, sir.
You see? But notice what Jesus is going to say in verse 10. Go ahead.
When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said unto them.
Let's say when Jesus heard it, he marveled. He was amazed at it. He marveled and said what?
He said unto them that followed, verily I say unto you, I have found not so great faith, no, not in Israel.
See, this lets you know this was somebody of another nation that was talking to Jesus. He said, man, I have not found so great faith, not in Israel. Go ahead. What else?
And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven.
See, a lot of people gonna be there. He said, many gonna come with Abraham. That's how you know he gonna be in the kingdom. Who else gonna be in the kingdom? Isaac gonna be there, and Jacob gonna be there. But he said what? He said, I say unto you that many gonna come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But what's gonna happen in Israel?
But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness.
Right, because see, they have the invitation to the wedding. You see? He said, but the children of the kingdom, these are Hebrews, these are Israelites. He said, what, they're going to be cast where?
Into outer darkness.
That's the lake of fire. What's going to be going on in there?
There should be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Right, so don't think you already got it sewed up in the bag. But he just told you that in that parable. He was showing you that. Yeah, you invited to the wedding, but still, you gotta do some things. You can't. Hey, everything can't be more important than you serving God. You see, that's why he went on there and started calling other people, go out to the highways and to the byways and compel them to come on in. You know, because I got my own people don't even want to show up. He said, but the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's talking about the lake of fire. But he went on to heal this guy's servant. Just so you know. But now let's go a little further. Let's go to Luke chapter 16. Just looking at a few parables that the Lord got here in the Bible. Because it really ain't that hard. It ain't that hard, you know. Some of the parables, all you got to do is just read through them. Be patient. A lot of times people don't want to be patient and take their time and read. You know, pick up the phone and get understanding to the question. But it's really about being patient. You know. We all, you know, we've been taught nowadays this is all about money coming to me now. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for things that happen quick, but we got to wait the process. Like, first off, we shouldn't be seeking no money. You know, that ain't what this is about. Now, it's okay to have money. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But we seeking the kingdom of God. That's what we worried about. So it's going to take some patience. Sit down and read. Sit down and study. And then start applying what it is you learn. Luke chapter 16, pick this up at verse 19, brother. Go ahead.
There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day.
So this is about the rich man and Lazarus. We're going to look at this parable here. Go ahead and read. He said it was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. He was straight. Had a little money. He was tight in this life. Can you read?
And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desired to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table.
See, that's all he wants. He just say he just wants some crumbs that fell from the rich man's table. I ain't asking for much, you know, but that's a lot when you poor, when you at the bottom of the totem pole and you at a rich man's door, all you just asking for, hey man, whatever, can I get the scraps? That's all I want. I just need something because I'm a little hungry. There was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores and desired to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Keep reading.
Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores.
He was down and out, brother. Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried.
Right, so now, you know, when we talk about Abraham's bosom, we ain't talking about Abraham is off in heaven nowhere. It's just kind of showing you, you know, we just saw that many going to come from the east and the west and sit down with Abraham where? In the kingdom, right? You see? That's who the promise was given to. It was given to Abraham. All right? But he just letting you know in this parable here, something that didn't happen for real, he giving you an example. He giving a parable. All right. So he said, it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and what?
And was buried.
Right. So in a sense here, we'll say that the rich man, he went to hell.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the parable lets you know. And this bosom that the poor man went to, that Lazarus went to, he went to heaven. All right. Or he went to the kingdom, not the third heaven, because the kingdom, the heaven gonna be on this earth. But in other words, the poor man, he ended up getting into the kingdom. All right. Keep reading, verse 23. He said the rich man also died and was buried. What else?
And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torment, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom.
Right. So now notice what he said. He said he saw Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. But guess what? The rich man is in hell. All right. Keep reading.
And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue.
He said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. Send Lazarus that he can just go dip the tip of his finger in some water, cool my tongue. Find what?
I am tormented in this flame.
Right. So this will be an example of him being in the lake of fire. Because you ain't gonna go into the lake of fire and just disintegrate real fast. No, you're gonna burn forever, regardless of what people say. I know they like to say, well, you ain't gonna, you just gonna stop existing. That's gonna be your everlasting torment. No, that's not true. You're gonna go into the lake of fire. Lord, matter of fact, he's gonna switch your body up, put you in the fire, and you're gonna burn forever. All right? He's gonna give you an immortal body that's gonna burn in the fire forever, in other words. You won't be able to die. All right? But even though this is a parable, he's still showing you something. He's saying what? That he may dip the tip of his finger in the water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. Now, Lazarus ain't in the rich man ain't in the lake of fire right now for real, actually talking to Lazarus or talking to Abraham. God is giving you a parable. He's showing you something. All right? But at the same time, he also showing you how it's really going to be when he come back and set his kingdom up on this earth and the lake of fire is in existence. Go on and read. What did it say? Verse 26. 25, I'm sorry.
But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in the lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented.
Okay, so yeah, just remember now, when you was here in this life, that's why you got to be mindful of everything that goes on in this world. You know, we get so caught up in the seeking, the fame, and the fortune, and the money, and all this type of stuff. All that stuff is vanity. See, I'd rather live check to check in this life right now. You see what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, hey, life is tough. But I don't mind having life being tough as compared to the world that's coming. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather serve God. I'd rather give up the things of this world to serve God so I can be straight for the next life. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, people want to just have everything right now. You know, people don't come to class. Why? Because they want to go to work on the Sabbath day. Not saying anything about nobody. I'm just saying the majority as a whole, people don't want to keep the Sabbath. Why? They got to get money, man. It's about money. I got to get paid. I got bills I got to take care of. I got children I got to feed. And I don't want to lose my job. But all that stuff going to perish. We see the rich man, he was straight though. He had everything in his life. Lazarus, he was poor. But now he's looking for Lazarus to go, get his finger and just put it in some water and come cool his tongue. Because he tormented in this flame. You ain't going to get no water down there. He says what? But Abraham says, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime received thy good things and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is confident and thou art tormented. Yeah, it ain't good to be poor. That's why the Bible calls it, he said he received evil things. Dog licking his sores. He was poor, begging for crumbs from the table. Verse 26, though.
And beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed.
Right, so on top of that, even though he did tell him, remember you got good in your lifetime, and Lazarus, he received evil, so you ain't gonna, he not going to dip his finger for you. Then on top of that, even if he wanted to, he can't do it. Why? Because there's a great gulf fixed between. He said, beside all this, between us and you, there's a great gulf fixed. Now, Jesus is the one that's giving you the example here. He's telling you, even if he wanted to come down there and give you some water, he couldn't, because there's something that's separating us. Go ahead and read, brother. What does it say?
so that they which will pass from hence to you cannot.
Right, so here, there's something that's separating us, that the ones that's in the kingdom, they couldn't even come down there if they wanted to. What else to say?
Neither can they pass to us
that
will come from thence.
Right, so you being in that lake of fire, you can't even come up here to get no water if you wanted to. It's a great gulf that's separating us. Now, this is a parable that God has given us, right? But let's go with Isaiah chapter 66. Let's go with Isaiah chapter 66. It's a parable, but it's some truth to this thing. Now, he gave you an example of how it's gonna be with the lake of fire. Isaiah chapter 66. And let's look at when the Lord returns, when Jesus get back to this earth. Isaiah chapter 66, and we're going to pick this up at verse 20. Now check out what's going to happen when the Lord returns. Read verse 20. What does it say, brother?
And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations, upon horses and in chariots, and in litters, and upon mules, and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Lord. As the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord. Right, so now this is something that's going to happen in the future, right? This is something that's going to take place when the Lord returns. And he let you know, the nations, what they're going to do is they're going to bring up your brothers and sisters, or bring Israel from out of their captivity, as it's going to be like Israel used to bring up a clean vessel to the house of the Lord. That's what he's likening these nations bringing Israel up to him as. You know, he says what? And they're going to bring all your brethren. Matter of fact, it tells you in verse 19 who it's going to be. You know, but he said they're going to bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations upon horses and in chariots. That's all these brothers that be thinking that they, thinking they Egyptologists and stuff like that. When it's all said and done, them Gentiles and all these other things going to be grabbing you. Come on, man. I got to tell you, no, I'm African American. Man, bring your behind on, man. In order for us to get up here to see Jesus, we got to bring one of y'all up. He said they're going to bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations. They can be grabbing Hebrews. And the Hebrews still going to be trying to hold on to their 30s and 20s and, the houses that they got built over here. Just like it was in Egypt last time. Remember they told Moses, what you bring us out here for, man, to die? We could have stayed in Egypt, eating on our millions and leeks and all that type of stuff. We were straight, man. And the nation's going to be grabbing them up in the end. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations, upon horses and in chariots and in litters, and upon mules and upon swift beasts, to my holy mount Jerusalem, saith the Lord. As the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel to the house of the Lord. That's how the Israel going to be coming up. That's how the nation's going to be grabbing them. It's going to be just like Israel was taking up a clean vessel to the house of the Lord. But what is he going to do? Verse 21. And I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Lord. Just keep that in your mind. Something for you to note. Notice what he say though. He gonna do what? I'm gonna also take of them for priests, right? And for Levites, saith the Lord. So just letting you know, the Levi tribe going back into what it is they used to do. And you know what they used to do, right? They were responsible for sacrificing animals. So if the Lord came and did away with the animal sacrifice, why they coming back? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind now. Because we're going to talk about this later on after class. But he said, I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Lord. For what? Verse 22. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord. That's right, keep reading. So shall your seed and your name remain. Right, so when Israel come back next time, when Jesus get back, hey, you ain't got to worry about them falling off no more. Just like the heavens and the earth gonna remain, he says, so shall your seed and your name remain. Verse 23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another. Oh, so you mean the Sabbath still gonna be around when Jesus get back? Yes, it is. He said from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, what? Shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. Right, because it's still gonna be flesh and blood here when Jesus get back. Now you're gonna have some immortals here, but you're still gonna have flesh and blood when Jesus returns. Now, when the Father gets here, that's a different story. You see, but that's what Jesus coming to do. Jesus coming to set everything in order before the Father get here. That's what that whole 1,000 years is about. 1,000 years of peace. Then we're going to go right into judgment day. You see? Then that's when the Father returns, like I tell you in Revelation 21, it ain't going to be no more death. Ain't going to be no more sickness, no more crying. Why? Ain't no more flesh and blood. You see? But when Jesus get back, it's still going to be flesh and blood. That's why he says,
And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. Keep reading, verse 24. What they going to do?
And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me.
He said they're going to go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. So, from one new moon to another, from one Sabbath to another, what did he say? He said they're going to go forth. In other words, they're going to be doing like this. They're going to go forth and look upon the men. Oh, man, wow. Mm-hmm. What did it say? Keep reading.
Upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me.
So the ones that have sinned against God, in this case, we just talking about the beast and the false prophet. That's it. When Jesus get back, these are the only people that are going to the lake of fire. The beast and the false prophet. These two going to be burning in there. Once they start burning, they're going to be burning forever. But Satan don't even hit the lake of fire when the Lord get back. These two people, the men that have transgressed against me, this is who they're going to go look at. Talking about the ones that's going to be in Jerusalem. He said what?
For their worm shall not die.
For their worm shall not die. What?
Neither shall their fire be quenched.
Right, so you know how you get thirst and you drink something to quench your thirst? Well, they're going to be burning. Ain't nothing going to be able to put this fire. You see, they're going to be burning forever. He said, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched. In other words, they ain't going to never die. They're going to keep burning. But the point is, notice what he said. He said they're going to look at the men that are transgressing. They ain't going to be able to pour no water down there. Remember, the Lord said it's a great gulf fixed between us. You see what I'm saying? He was giving you a parable, but still he letting you know you ain't going to be able to do nothing. They down there in the fire. They can't come up out of there. Ain't nothing you can do. You get in there, you ain't getting out. That's it. So he said they're going to go forth and look upon the conscience of the men that are transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and what else?
And this shall be in the pouring unto all flesh.
Oh, yeah, man. So all the people that's there, that's up in Jerusalem, they're going to go there and look down in that fire. Look at the beast and false prophets, shake their head, man. I don't know if they're going to shake their head. Right? They're going to be in the horn of all flesh. That's going to be something to let you know, man. Ooh, boy. Make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do so I don't end up in there. But the point is, God told him it's a great gulf between us. Even if you wanted to pass from here to there, you can't do it. If they wanted to come from there to here, they can't do it. You see, even though it was a parable, it still has something. The Lord was still showing you something in there. All right, but now let's go over to, come back to Luke chapter 16. Come back to Luke 16. We need to finish up this parable. Because we still, see, even with his parables, there was a reason why. What's the whole point of the parable? Luke 16, we're going to pick this up at verse 27 now. Luke 16 and verse 27. All right, go and read that, brother.
Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house.
Mm-hmm.
For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into his place of torment.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham said unto him.
Now notice what it says. He said, listen, hey, Lord, okay. I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou would send him to my father. But just send him to my father's house. Let them know about this place so they don't have to end up where I am. Keep reading, brother.
That thou wouldest send him to my father's house.
Uh-huh.
For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment.
Right, so just let him go tell them, let him go save them, in other words, so they don't have to end up in the same position I'm in. Keep reading, verse 29.
Abraham saith unto him, they have Moses and the prophets.
Wait a minute, Abraham said they got who?
Moses and the
prophets.
prophets.
Now, this Jesus talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's in red. He said, Abraham said unto him, they got Moses and the prophets. Why else we need to go tell them? Just think about that, how people try to do away with the law. Moses and the prophets, that's the Old Testament. Moses, the first 5 books, Genesis down to Deuteronomy, the prophets from there on out, That's where your Zechariah and all that stuff come in. Haggai, Zephaniah, Daniel, Nehemiah, that's where all your prophets come in. So Jesus told him, he said, listen, instead of him going to Lazarus going to say something to your father, they got Moses and the prophets. Let him hear them. Go on and read, brother.
And he said, nay, Father Abraham.
He said, nah, Father Abraham, but what?
But if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent.
Right, now this is Jesus talking. He said, but if one went from the dead, they will repent. In other words, if some came showing some signs and wonders, maybe they'll believe. See, that's mainly what everybody, this is why tomorrow all these whorehouses are going to be filled up with this garbage. Why? Because they're looking for signs. Everybody going to church for some money. We're looking for, we want to hear the preacher say, sow your seed, and you're going to get 100-fold return. We want somebody to do some magic trick. That's why this beast gonna deceive the whole world when he comes. Not the whole world, but the majority when he comes. Because why? It's gonna be signs that he gonna do. Making statues, walking, talking, all that type of stuff. Cause a fire to come down from heaven. When we saw that, he gonna get his power from Satan. But this was gonna deceive everybody because they want signs. This is why he said here in verse 30, he said, nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. Go ahead and read verse 31, because this is the moral of the parable. What it say?
And he said unto him,
Uh-huh.
if they hear not Moses and the prophets.
Because see, that's what it's all about. You got to go back to Moses and the prophets to get understanding on this word. That's what this parable is all about. You need to go deal with this law. That's what Jesus tells them. If they hear not Moses and the prophets, what, brother?
Neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead.
So when I come, they don't even pay attention to me if they ain't gonna listen to Moses and the prophets. That's why ain't nobody paying attention to Jesus now. He done died. Matter of fact, he got beat, he got murdered on the cross, went down in the grave, got up from the dead, and people still don't believe him. You know why? Because they don't believe Moses and the prophets. That's what he told you, didn't he? He said if they don't believe Moses and the prophets, hey, neither would they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Jesus knew exactly what he was talking about. That's exactly what you see going on today. Let's go have a look at Matthew chapter 13. Just understanding these parables. Let's go look at these wheat and these tares. Matthew chapter 13. Matthew 13. We're going to pick this up at verse 24. All right, go ahead and read that, brother.
Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field.
Right, so we getting, once again, he giving you a parable of the kingdom of heaven, right? So he said the kingdom of heaven is like is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Go ahead and read.
But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way.
That's right. So while men were sleeping, the enemy came in and sowed some tares inside the field where the wheat was put down. Go ahead and read, brother.
But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? For whence then has it tares? Right. So in other words, he let them know, hey, you had verse 26. They say when the blade was sprung up. Because we see that, like you said, the kingdom of heaven is like a man would sow good seed in this field. Then you had somebody come behind them while they were asleep and put tares in the field. So when the blade came up, which was supposed to come up, which was the wheat by itself in a sense, you had tares come up with it. So now, what he's asking is, so the servants in verse 27 says, so the servants of the household that came and said unto him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in the field? From whence then have the tares? How did these tares get into the inside this field where this wheat supposed to be at, right? Because one's supposed to be number wheat there. Somehow or another, these tares got in there. Now that's what this parable is about. It's going to tell you that. All right, keep reading verse 29. He's going to break it all down to you. Go ahead. He said unto them, an enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? Right. So that just makes sense, right? That just makes sense. Well, the answer was because they asked him how did these tares get in the field, and they let him, Lord let him know, hey, the enemy has done this. So the proper response would be, well, do you think we need to go ahead and get these tares up? Should we go and pull them up? What's going to happen? Or what he say? But he said, nay. That's why you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. He said, so just leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? If it's any, tares in there, just leave it alone because you might bring up the wheat with them. And that's why, even when it comes to little small situations like in the churches we dealing with right now, you may have some little issues in the church. People want to go like, when I first came into the word and I really started dealing with the word like I do now, I was the type of person, man, like we're going to have to get to the root of the matter as soon as possible. If something come up, doctrine coming to church, boy, I'm on it.
You know, we finna handle this now, and I don't care who get hurt, I don't care who get offended. You know, then I learn later on down the line, you know, you deal with things as they come. You know, because you don't want to end up tearing the wheat up also. You know, I might have good intentions behind it, just leave it alone. But that's just a small scenario based on what the Lord is talking about in the kingdom of heaven. So like when you have little small issues in the church, you know, you try to deal with it best you can, and sometimes just leave it alone. Because when it's all said and done, you know, like they would say, if it don't come out in the wash, it's gonna come out in the rinse. You know, sometimes you leave things alone; it'll be revealed in due time. But like he say here, he says, "Nah, just leave it alone. Lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them." Verse 30. What does it say, bro?
Let both grow together into the harvest.
So let's just let the wheat and the tares grow together until the harvest, until it's time to gather everything up. Go and read.
And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn.
Oh, so notice what he say. He say, let them both grow together into the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers. Now pay attention now, because when we read a little further, Jesus is gonna explain all this, what he talking about. He said, I'm gonna say to the reapers, gather ye first together first the tares and bind them in bundles to do what?
To burn them.
So when we see burning, anytime we see burning, putting tares and you know, bind them up and to burn them, what do you think he's talking about? Lake of fire, right? But he giving you a parable, right?
Yeah.
He said, bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the what?
The wheat into my barn.
Now let's skip down to verse 37. Let's get this explanation on this because they want to know what he's talking about. So let's see what it says in verse 37. Because in verse 36 it said, then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples, you know, his immediate disciples, his 12 disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. See, we can understand it now because, you know, we reading the Bible, but you sitting there walking with Jesus, man, he telling you these parables, it's flying right over your head, man. But see, they got, the parables, they have spiritual and moral implications, sister, brother. They helping you. They're not hurting you, know, but for the ones that can't hear it, though, yeah, he cutting them all across, he tearing them up with this. But the disciples, they want to know, they want him to break this down. Now he get ready to. Go and read verse 37.
He answered and said unto them, he that sowed the good seed is the Son of Man.
All right, so the one that ended up sowing the seed, right? Like we saw in verse 24, it said the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field, right? So now in verse 37, he's telling you who this man is. He said, he that sowed the good seed is who?
The Son of Man.
That's Jesus, right? Go ahead and read. What else?
The field is the world.
Wait a minute. The field is what?
The world.
The field is the world. So where the seed has been sown at, it's the world. Go ahead and read.
The good seed of the children of the kingdom.
So the good seed, that would be your wheat, right? He said they're the children of the kingdom. Keep reading.
But the tares are the children of the wicked one.
Oh, wait a minute. You got them tares. They're the children of the devil.
Sure.
He said the tares are the children of the wicked one. Keep reading, brother.
The enemy that sold them is the devil.
Oh, so that's the one that came in while men were sleeping. He said the enemy that sold them is the devil. Go and read, brother.
The harvest is the end of the world.
Oh, wait a minute. The harvest is what?
The end of the world.
So at the end of the world, that's when the Lord going to start harvesting. When he going to gather everybody up. You see that? He said the harvest is the end of the world. Go ahead.
And the reapers are the angels.
Oh, wait a minute. The reapers are the angels. You see? But he's breaking down this parable now. He said the reapers are the angels. Go ahead and read verse 40.
As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world.
Oh, yeah. This parable cold, man. This parable something else, ain't it? That's how it's going to be at the end of the world, though. This is how it's going to be at the end of the world. This is when the Lord going to get the ones that are in the grave up. They got to answer some questions, man. You're going to be judged based on what you did in this life. If your good don't outweigh your bad, man, guess what? You're going to be one of these tares that's going to get in that fight. He says, therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. Verse 41.
The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity. What are you talking about? He said he's going to gather out of them, gather out of his kingdom, in other words, all things that offend, and them which do what? Do iniquity.
Y'all know what iniquity is, right?
Sin.
That's sin. So you ain't getting into the kingdom of sin, sisters and brothers. But this all the way down to the end of the world. He gonna gather out of his kingdom all things that are fed, and them which do iniquity. What he gonna do with it?
And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be a wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Right, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. He said he's gonna cast them into a furnace of fire. How you gonna be wailing and gnashing of teeth if you just gonna be disintegrated real quick? You gonna disintegrate? It's not gonna happen, right? You can't be wailing and gnashing of teeth if you burnt up. No, you still gonna be burnt. But he's telling you what's gonna happen when he bring that lake of fire. This is a parable though, but it's really gonna happen. It's a parable. It might seem it's a riddle, but you better figure this riddle out because it's really gonna happen. He said he's gonna cast them into a furnace of fire. There should be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And what's gonna happen with the righteous though? Verse 43.
Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear.
Right, so whoever got ears to hear, whoever want to understand this, get understanding on this. He said, then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of the Father. So I want everybody to think, well, see, this is why it's really talking about sun worship. No, ain't talking about sun. No, he's telling you that you're going to shine forth like the sun. Let's go to Daniel chapter 12. Let's look at this because he wasn't saying nothing out of the ordinary. He was saying something. That's why he said when he gonna come, he gonna utter dark sayings of old. It was said in the Old Testament that you gonna shine like the sun. Daniel chapter 12. Let's take a look at it. Daniel 12. We're gonna pick this up in verse 1. Daniel 12 and verse 1. Oh, yeah, we got the same Bible. 1375.
Yes, sir.
75.
Okay.
75.
Oh, 75. Yeah.
There you go. All right, Daniel 12, verse 1. Go ahead and read that for me.
And at that time shall Michael stand up. The great prince was standing for the children of our people.
Because this is going to take us to a time that we get ready to roll up on. And listen, man, the reason why I say we get ready to roll up on it because things just started happening so quick, man. I mean, things just unfolding so fast. The thing that took place this week was really kind of shocking. And we'll talk about the Bible study, but, I was just listening to a class that I taught about 3 months ago. And we was talking, and I can't remember the name of the class, but I was just talking about the European nation and the European Union and how they're going to end up boiling down to 10 nations. And then last week, early this week, for them to say they done got 23 people that have signed off on doing this, man, that just let us know how close we are to it. So really, it's the time out for games now. Because our faith really going to get tested real soon. But he said, at that time, Michael said, stand up, the great prince will stand for the children of thy people. And what's going to happen?
And there should be a time of trouble.
And this is why I was mentioning that because this is talking about the great tribulation. He said it's going to be a time of trouble such as what?
As never was since there was a nation, even to them that same time.
Even to that same time. So 9/11 ain't got nothing on this. You know what I'm saying? Even the captivity that Israel was in back during Egypt, it don't compare to this right here. What took place with Israel going into captivity, coming over to the Americas and say, hey, don't compare to what's getting ready to go down in the future real soon. He says such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And what?
And at that time, thy people shall be delivered. Every one that shall be found written in the book.
That's right. Keep reading. What's going to happen?
And many of them that will sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake.
Right. So now when Jesus comes, many of them that sleep in the dust shall awake. But notice where they're sleeping at, though. Where they sleep at?
In the dust.
They ain't sleep in heaven nowhere.
No,
they sleep in the dust of the what?
Of the
what? What did the book say? In the dust of the earth. So when you die, where you go back to? Go back to the dust. That's what the book say, right? That's where he says 1, 2, 3. He said, many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life. See, the ones that get up to everlasting life, this will be your first resurrection. But it's also going to give you the second resurrection. Because what's going to happen at the second resurrection? What does it say?
And some to shame and everlasting contempt.
See, this don't happen at the first resurrection. Nobody's getting up to shame and everlasting contempt at the first resurrection. All right? people gonna get up to shame and everlasting contempt at the second resurrection. That's when we go into judgment day. And then, you know, like I say, whatever if your good don't outweigh your bad, your shame and everlasting contempt gonna take place. In other words, you're gonna be in that lake of fire forever. That's why I say everlasting. But he gave you that in the Old Testament though. However, at the same time, he told you that we was gonna shine like the sun, didn't he? In that parable we just read. As far as the righteous, his wheat, they're gonna shine like the sun. Well, it was a parable, but he was still giving you some truth though. He was letting you know it's some truth to it, because what he said in verse 3.
And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament.
Oh, okay, and they that be wise, the ones that making it to the kingdom, you're gonna shine like the brightness of the firmament. But he told you what particular object in the firmament you're gonna shine like. What was it though? The sun, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Over in Matthew, he said you're gonna Luke, I believe. No, Matthew 13. He said they're gonna shine like the sun. Now he's telling you they that be wise gonna shine like the firmament. What's in the firmament, sisters and brothers? Y'all know the firmament is? All right, let me tell you what the firmament is. It's heaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another name for firmament is heaven.
Right.
All right, but the firmament he talking about is the heaven that he's talking about the one that's called the firmament. All right, there was a firmament that divided two bodies of water.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the water that's on this earth and the water that's above us. And then what he did, he called that the firmament, or he called it heaven. And what he put inside this firmament, he put a sun in. Genesis 1:14, 15 let you know he made two great lights.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the greater light to do what? To rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. Right? So when he's telling you here, he says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. He lets you know in Matthew, he's talking about you're going to shine like the sun.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when when Moses went up to Mount Sinai, he started changing. He started taking on that God type, that God form. That's why when he came back down, they couldn't look at Moses no more. You see that he had to have a veil over his face because he started shining like the firmament. You see, but that's what's going to happen when you take on your everlasting body. Even though it was a parable, he still was letting you know this how it's going to go down. But you got to get some understanding on it, you know. But he give you that. All this stuff means something. That's why I say, you know, he just going to bring light to some things that are hard to be understood. All right, but now let's go over to Luke chapter 18. We're going to pick this up at verse 1. Luke 18, we're going to pick this up at verse 1. This here regarding praying. This parable here is in reference to us praying. You know, because it ain't nothing wrong with praying. It's always good for us to pray, but the Lord gonna tell us that though. Luke chapter 18. We're gonna pick this up at verse 1. All right, go ahead and read that for me.
And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought to always pray.
Mm-hmm.
And
wait a minute, men ought to do what?
Always to pray.
Right, men ought to always pray. There's nothing wrong with praying, sister. All right. He said men ought to always pray, but that's what this parable is about. He's gonna break it down. But he spake a parable unto them to this end. In other words, the gist of the matter, what the parable is really about, is that men ought to always pray and not faint. Now he's gonna break it down and let you know what he's talking about. Because see, you got somebody you got Luke writing this. All right, Luke writing and giving you an account of, you know, some things that Jesus did, just like the other gospels do. But he telling you, Luke said what? He spake a parable unto them to this end. In other words, you know, what the point of the parable, when he said to this end, was what? That men ought to always pray and not to faint. Regardless of what it seems like, you may think that God ain't hearing your prayer, but the point of this parable is to show you that men ought to always pray. Go ahead and read. Pick up verse 2.
Saying, there was in the city a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me.
Now pay attention, man. He said there was a city a judge who feared not God, neither regarded man, right? So, you know, just right out the gate, understanding, you know, ask him anything, He don't care. He ain't gonna answer none of you. Anything wrong with you, he can care less. But there was a widow in that city, and she came with him saying, avenge me of my adversary. All right? So something bothered this woman. And it says he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubled me, I will avenge her, lest by continuing coming she weary me. So if it ain't for anything else but she keep bothering me, I'm going to go ahead and answer her prayer. Man, I'm going to avenge her by adversary because she keep messing with me. She's getting on my nerves. Go ahead and read them.
And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge said.
Right, you hear what this unjust judge say? He said, even though I don't fear God or man, I'm going to go ahead and answer her. That's what he means by the unjust judge. You hear what this Jesus said? You hear what this man is saying? This judge, he unjust. He don't fear God or man. Listen to what this unjust judge is saying. Verse 7.
And shall not God avenge his own elect?
Oh, so even if the unjust judge will hear the prayers of this woman, will not God avenge his own elect? Which do what?
Cry day and night unto him, though he bear along with them.
Right, so hey, that letting you know what you need to do, right? Hey, he say if this unjust judge will answer the prayer or avenge this woman of her adversaries, and he ain't righteous at all, don't you think God will answer your prayer? He said, shall not God avenge or take care of his own elect? Avenge your adversary. You see? Whatever's bothering you, he said, I'll do it for you. He said, shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he be alone with them. Go ahead and read verse 8.
I tell you that he will avenge them speedily.
So he may not seem like he coming. You know how that saying that used to be said a long time ago? You know, he may not come when you need him, but he's right on time. Well, that's true. You just got to keep praying. You can't give up. You can't get weird throughout the situation, man. You know what? I don't want to have nothing to do with this, man. You know, I know somebody close to me, man. Life was getting so hard for him, you know, about 20 years ago. Matter of fact, real close, one of my siblings. Life was getting so tough, man, he just felt like he cursed God, man. And, you know, even back then, I didn't know the truth, but I knew that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And a few days later, man, we was right up here on JTB, man. My daddy used to, you know, work a lot of these buildings that y'all see around here now. My daddy had contracts with a lot of these places. And me and my brother used to work for him. That's my sibling, the one who said it. And, man, one day we get back out here, we get back out to work. After he done cursed God, we was on our way to Kingston, Georgia. He was mad, man, and life was just so tough. And he was catching all type of hell. And he just started going off on God, man. I said, well, look at here. You are losing your mind. We was about to fight, man. And I told him, I can't allow you to talk to God like this, man. But the next day, we got out there, and it was raining, storming down real bad in Jacksonville. And, man, that lightning hit that ground and came up through my brother's arm, boy. You know, and he went to the hospital. They had to give him bananas for all that potassium and all that type of stuff. And he said, man, I felt so small. I would never in my life talk to God like that again, you know. So we understood then. But the point is, you know, he says, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. He said, shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto them, though he be alone with them. I tell you, he will avenge them speedily. So regardless of how tough it may seem, he gonna hear your prayer. Don't let life make you get to the point where you curse God. You know, and start getting mad at him and start going off on God. Just continue to pray. Continue to hang in there. Because he gave his prayer for a reason. He said what? I'll tell you that he will avenge them speedily. But our time ain't the same as God's though, right? Yes, you just got to keep on praying. Just like that woman that kept going to this unjust judge. That judge got tired and said, you know what? You're going to keep on bothering me until I answer your prayer, until I avenge you of this adversary. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Right? So he said, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man come, what?
Shall he find faith on the earth?
Right. He said, nevertheless, if I don't do it, when I get back, ain't nobody going to have no faith. Listen, if God didn't do some miracles now today, when he get back, when nobody believe in God. If God didn't bring you through your situations that you're going through in life, when he get back, listen, would nobody believe God? That's why he say, nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, shall he find faith on the earth? So, hey, I'm going to help somebody out. So when I get back, it's going to be some people that got some faith in me. I ain't going to just leave them hanging. But go ahead and read verse 9.
And he spake this parable.
And he spake another parable. See, that's what he was doing. He was speaking parables all over the place. Why? Because remember he said, what? Unto you is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom. Right? That's what was given. He said, but unto others it ain't so, right? I ain't given to them to know. But unto you is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom. Verse 9. So the first thing we learn in this parable, what? You got to keep on praying. Don't give up on prayer. You asking God for something? You need life to get better? You need God to answer your prayer? Keep on seeking God. Don't give up. Hey, life get tough. That's life. That's a part of life. But you got to keep on seeking God. But he's going to give you another parable. Go and read verse 9. Read that. Pick that up for me.
And he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others.
Notice what he said. Now he spake another parable. To those which trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others. Because you got that going on, right? You know, you got people that are puffed up and feel like they're better than everybody, right? You can't tell them nothing, they're so puffed up. But what did he say? Verse 10.
2 men went up into the temple to pray. The one a Pharisee and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself. God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust adulterers, or even as this publican.
Right. Now notice what he said. So he gave me an example of these 2 men that are praying. And he said what? The one a Pharisee and the other a publican. You know. Now the publican would be somebody, you know, somebody that deal with the taxes. And you look at people that like your IRS, everybody look at them as being crooked. You know, you trying to hold on to what you got, and they trying to take it. Every time you turn around, it's a tax increase for something. You ain't even vote on it. You had nothing to do with it, but you got to pay it, right? You know. But these be your publicans. He said 2 men went up into the temple to pray. The one a Pharisee and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself. God, I thank you. See, this Pharisee, you know, these are the ones that's supposed to be close to, you know, have some understanding on the word in a sense. You know, but they ain't do what God told them. That's why the Lord told you to make sure that your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the Pharisee. For they say and they do not. But he said the Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself. God, I thank thee that I'm not as other men, extortioners, unjust adulterers, or even as this publican. Go on and read.
I fast twice in the week.
I know that he puffing himself up, man. Now you're going to God like this. He said, I fast twice in the week. What else?
I give tithes of all that I possess.
Keep reading.
And the publican, standing afar off.
But this Pharisee going as if he ain't got no flaws in himself. See, that ain't how you come to God. This is how you come to God. This is a great example right here. What the publican gonna say?
Standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven.
See, he wouldn't even look up to him. He wouldn't even look at God and say nothing because he felt ashamed of himself. It said what? And the publican standing afar would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but did what?
But smote upon his breast, saying, God be merciful to me a sinner.
Right. See, and that's how you got to come to God. You go to God, hey Lord, whatever I did, if I said anything wrong, or done anything wrong, whether I knew about it or not, I ask you to forgive me. Because see, you mad, like the Bible, we filthy rags, right? You know, if we was, you know, good enough, we could have died for one another. But we ain't. That's why the Father had to send his Son to die for the sins of man. But he said, the publican standing afar off would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, and smote upon his breast, saying what?
God be merciful to me a sinner.
So he admitted he's a sinner. That's how we're going to fix the problem. We admit that we done some wrong, man. We admit that, listen, I'm less of a man, Lord. I need you to have some mercy on me. Keep reading, brother.
I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other.
Oh, so the man that came to the Lord showed some humbleness? He went down to his house rather justified than the other, right? When we talk about others, we talking about the Pharisee, right?
Yes,
see, the Pharisee, he was puffed up. You know, I tithe twice in a week. I do this, and I thank God I ain't no adulterer like this publican or no extortioner. That ain't how you come to God. You still filthy. I mean, I know you cleaned up, but I'm just saying you still a man. You understand? So you come to God and you humble yourself. And that's what this publican did. That's why he went down to his house rather justified rather than the other. He said, I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other for what?
For everyone that exalted himself.
See, this is the purpose of the parable. He said, for everyone that exalts himself, what?
Shall be abased.
Right, so if you exalt yourself, puff yourself up, you know what the Lord gonna do? He gonna bring you down. That's even in life, period. You exalt yourself, hey, some way, shape, or form, you're going to fall. That's why, I tell brothers, listen, we ain't trying to be lords over the people, man. That ain't what this is about. If anybody listen, I know it ain't a big deal, but I hate coming to church last. I hate coming to church last. In my mind, I want to be the first one here. And y'all in Jacksonville, I'm trying to beat y'all here. You got lucky this morning. I pulled up and Josh was here, but you not beat you here. We stopped and talked at the West area and stuff, but I would have got you.
Who walked in?
You know what I'm saying? But we walked in first. But I like to get here first because we ain't nobody special, man. Coming from these churches that I grew up in, and especially nowadays that this world changes. A few years, about 10 years ago when we went, I think 2007 when I left. But he would come into the church, everybody already be in church, and he come into church, and then everybody else got to stand up like he a judge of God or something. So that put such a bad taste in my mouth that I try to get to church before everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Because the Lord lets you know, like the question was asked to him, when you have somebody that's waiting at the table, or somebody that's sitting at the table, who is the greatest? Mm-hmm. And then Jesus said, "Isn't not the one that's sitting at the table greatest?" And they was like, in a sense, yeah. But God said, "Nah." He said, "But I'm serving you." You see what I'm saying? I'm the one that's serving you. So in other words, learn from me. Do what I do. Don't worry about the credit. You abase yourself. Bring yourself down, and the Lord gonna exalt you. That's the point of this parable. He said, "I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalts himself shall be abased, and he that what?
Humbleth himself shall be exalted."
Oh, so just keep that in mind. He that humble himself, God gonna exalt you. That's just a life period. Somebody say something bad to you. Hey, somebody cuss you out. Somebody do something to you that you don't like. You want to get them back. You want to get them back. You want to take. Hey, I can't let you do me like this, right? I gotta show you something. No, you gotta do that. You just gotta base yourself and let God exalt you. He'll step in. He'll do something that you can't even fathom. But what's gonna make you a better man is you back up and you just pray for that person. Even though it might have hurt, your feelings might have got hurt. Hey, you gotta just humble yourself. And that's the point of this parable. See, all these things, like I say, hey, they have moral meanings behind these things, spiritual and moral meanings behind them. All right, lessons that come with these parables. Even though he taught them, he said, "I'm gonna open up these parables upon the harp. I'm gonna open them up in riddles, in a sense." Hey, they still got a meaning behind it. They got a spiritual and moral lesson that come with it. But now let's go into Proverbs chapter 26. We almost done. Got 3 more after this. Proverbs 26. Because the Lord has given us understanding on the word. Things that the preachers don't see. Things they've been trying to see for a long time. Why they can't see it? Why they can't understand it? But see, why does it go down like this? Proverbs chapter 26. And I just wanted to show you that how it flows. You understand? Mm-hmm. But Proverbs 26, we're going to pick this up at verse 7. Go and read that one verse for me, brother.
The legs of the lame are not equal.
So you think about that. The legs of the lame are not equal. I don't know why. It's a weird thought came in my mind. I just think about somebody that lame. I think about that comedian from back in the day that used to get on stage and always act like he was retarded. You know what I'm talking about? Can't remember his name. But he just said the legs of the lame are not equal, right? Mm-hmm. And that one leg might be longer than the other, but what does he compare it to? What is that?
So is a parable in the mouth of fools.
So you put a parable in the mouth of a preacher, he gonna jack it up. Like his brother was saying this morning, that God, like when God told you that wide is the way to destruction and narrow is the way to salvation, and few that be there find it. Man, his brother say that the preacher said that narrow is the way to the lake of fire. Now that ain't what the Bible say though. You know what I'm saying? But he said narrow is what's gonna get you to the lake of fire, when the Bible clearly tells you that broad is the way that leads to destruction, and narrow is the path, the way that leads to salvation, and few there be that find it. But just like the Bible is saying, hey, the legs of the lame are not equal, so is the parable in the mouth of fools. Because he a fool, and when it come out your mouth, it ain't gonna sound right. It's gonna sound unequal. In other words, it ain't balanced. It ain't right coming out of the mouth of a fool. Go to Isaiah chapter 29. Isaiah chapter 29. Yeah, you got all type of weird stuff being said nowadays. But the Lord warned us about that. He ain't warned you about the robber. He ain't warned you about the thief or the murder. He warns you about those that deceive. Because see, if it gets in your mind, that do more damage to somebody that can take something from you. You could possibly recover that. But that soul is being taken. Hey, you can't get that back once you're gone, sister. So that's why the Lord warned you about that deception that's coming. Isaiah chapter 29, we're going to pick this up at verse 9. Go and read that for me, brother.
Stay yourselves in wonder.
Uh-huh.
Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine.
Mm-hmm.
They stagger, but not with strong drink.
Uh-huh. That's what's going on today. A lot of people out here drunk.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't drunk with no wine, they drunk with false doctrine. See, it ain't all about, like my teacher was teaching, our teacher teaching last night about being drunk, spiritually drunk and physically drunk, but that spiritual drunkenness is bad, just as bad, if not more, if not worse. He said what? They're drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink, though. They stagger. They falling all over the place. You know how it is that uncle come to the party. He get drunk and he know everybody. He's the type of person, he go to family reunion and make it seem like he's somebody in the family. Don't know nobody there. But he can get, that's that wine make him do. That's how it is with that preacher, man. He drunk, but not with wine. He staggered, but not because of strong drink, though. That ain't what got him drunk, though. What it say in verse 10?
For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
It's like the Lord done took a pitcher of water, but really it's sleep, though. He just poured sleep on top of him. He said, for the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and what else?
And hath closed your eyes.
He closed their eyes. Keep reading.
The prophets and your rulers, the seers have he covered.
Oh, so now they look at the Bible, they can't understand it. See, it's still a parable to them. But the simple things we look at, we understand what's going to take place. Lord shows us things in the Bible, how the end going to happen, things to look for, but you take it to these people that the Lord done poured the spirit of deep sleep on, and guess what? They can't understand because he got them sleep, though. Verse 11, what it say?
And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed.
It's like you got some type of magical mystery book. When you look at the Bible, it's like, oh man, I'm trying to figure it out. Can never figure it out. You get frustrated, start pulling out your hair. But we saw what? We saw there's a formula on how God have you to do it. It started with what? The fear of God first. That's how the knowledge is going to increase. And then you got to also put the Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20 together, to the law and to the testimony. You got to deal with the old and the new. You can't just deal with the New Testament, sister. You're going to have to deal with the whole Bible if you want to get understanding. But because they don't do it, it's like they get into this book and it's like it's sealed. It's like they run around trying to find answers, trying to see what God is saying. And because of that, God is coming back on September 23rd. God is coming back on May the 22nd, 2011. Because they can't understand the Bible. They just take, 1 + 1 = 2. Revelation chapter 13 says this going to happen. Next thing you know, we got 4 blood moons that's supposed to occur. Then the word's supposed to come to an end. Man, it's a bunch of garbage. Why? Because the Lord done poured out upon them the spirit of deep sleep. So you take the Bible to who? What it say? Which men?
Which men saying, which men deliver the
I
word.
called him sleeping. I called him. We was talking about that on the way to church today. I called him. We was talking about how it's so important for the reader. You know what I'm saying? When you're reading, it's hard for you to sit up here and actually listen. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you get caught up listening to the class. But the most important job is the job of the reader. I just take you through the Bible. Like JD said, I just be a tour guide. I can show you things through the Bible. But the most important job is a reader because you got to focus and you got to read. But I just caught him off guard this time. But he's still doing good. But he said, the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which do what now?
Which men deliver the one that is learned.
Right, so you go take it to the preacher that got all these different letters behind his name. I call him the alphabet preacher. He got all the doctors. He got all these different degrees. You take it to him. He done been in theology school for 200 years and still don't understand the weekly Sabbath. Somehow another 1 means 7. A 7 means 1. I don't get that. He said you deliver it to him, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying what?
Read this, I pray this.
Right, so you going to him, you want some spiritual guidance. You want him to break down this Bible and give you some understanding. What did he say, brother?
He says, I cannot.
I can't do it, man. Why?
For it is sealed.
But is it really sealed?
What's up?
It ain't like it's sealed where God, like I said, God is trying to hide it from you. He said their ears have their closed. I mean, their eyes, they have closed. Their ears, they got to want to, get understanding on the word. But nobody on that law is what's jacking people up. That law is becoming a stumbling block to people. He said, read this, I pray thee. He said, I cannot, for it is sealed. Verse 12.
And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee.
Right, so yeah, he ain't got no education, man. He's just somebody that, happened to turn to be a preacher. Out of nowhere, the Lord called him to preach. You take the Bible to him, he ain't learned. He said, I can't do it. You just all over the place trying to find get some understanding from somebody. Somebody that stands behind the pulpit should be able to tell you something about this book. But you go into the one that's learned, he don't know nothing. You go to the one that's not learned, he don't know nothing. That's why he said, read this, I pray. He said, what?
He says, I am not learned.
I'm not learned. Keep reading verse 13.
Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me.
This is why. He said with their mouth, he said, well, this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me. See, this going to stop you from understanding the Bible because it's more than lip service. It got to be some action. It's going to start off with fearing God. Then it's going to, what come next? You got to keep his law. See, they go hand in hand. If you fear God, you keep his law. If you keep the law, you fear God. You see, it can't just be I love God, we cool and all that type of stuff. Not the God of this Bible. But because of that, he said, wherefore the Lord said, for as much as these people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but what?
Have removed their heart far from me.
I see their mind ain't got nothing to do with God. That's what it means when he say their heart, they have removed their heart far from it. When it comes to the word, when it comes to what God say do, hey, they don't want their Lord and Jesus you all day long. Call their house. Ask me, I'm blessed and highly favored. Praise the Lord. Give me a call back. And everything is Jesus. You don't want to do nothing God say though. He said, what? They have removed their heart far from me. Keep reading, brother.
And their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
Go to Matthew chapter 13. This is where you get all your stuff. You get it from the preachers. Pay your tithe, you're going to end up getting rich. Don't pay your tithe, you're going to hell. All this stuff comes from the preachers. You can eat anything, just pray. That's taught by the precept of men. God didn't tell you that. Matthew chapter 13. We're going to pick this up at verse 16. Matthew 13, verse 16. Go and read that for me, brother.
But blessed are your eyes, for they see.
Right, so even though they can't see, he said what? But blessed are your eyes, because they see it. Hopefully, that's what this was about to do. Putting these parables out here so you can see it with your mind. So things just start making sense. Because, people have trouble with parables. Like, for instance, the one about the putting new wine in old bottles. Man, people have trouble with that parable. And I understand why. But it's just talking about you can't give it's really just saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's really all it's saying. You can't go to somebody that's been stuck in their ways for 30 and 40 years, and here it is, you coming with this new doctrine. In order for them to take this, understand this doctrine, they're going to have to get a new bottle. In other words, they're going to have to get all that old stuff about them, then you put that new wine in them, and both of them going to be preserved. But if you still got that old man, don't want to take this new wine, guess what? You put that new wine in them, and then that bottle going to break, and you're going to lose the wine and the bottle. You see? But those are parables that God is giving. Hopefully, it's opened up today, but, these parables are things that people don't understand. That's why we're looking at these things today, to show you that it's more than just in the Bible for good reading. It's implications, spiritual and moral lessons behind these things. All right, but Matthew 13, it says, well, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, your eyes, for they hear, and hopefully that's what's been done today. You can understand some things now. Go ahead and read. What does it say, verse 17?
For verily I say unto you, that many prophets of righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them.
That's right, because that's even with Daniel. Daniel was had dreams about things that was going to take place in the end. He would pray about them. The Lord would come to him by way of the angel Gabriel and told him, listen, don't worry about some of these things. Some of this stuff gonna happen in the end. You're gonna stand on your lot, but this stuff right here is for the latter days. Now what's starting to happen? We starting to understand. That's why when all this stuff started unfolding, we're not shocked by it. We're looking for it to happen. Now it's scary that we are alive to see it, but we can tell you how it's going to unfold. Why? Because the Lord is blessing us to see these things. Just like he told them back in the day. He said, blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say to you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them. Keep reading.
And to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard.
Now let's go and skip down to verse 34. Then he's going to go into the parable of the seed and the sower. But he's going to another parable. Well, I ain't read now because we go through that several times, but just to show you, he was speaking parables all over the place. Read verse 34. What does it say, brother?
All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, And without a parable spake he not unto them.
Oh, so notice what he said. He spoke to the multitude, and without a parable, he didn't speak. Remember, when he spoke to them, he had parables. That sisters and brothers. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them. Why he did that? Verse 35.
That it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying,
I
will open my mouth in parables.
Okay, this is why he did that, right? See, we opened up with that, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's how we came in. But he came speaking like this because it had to be fulfilled that was spoken by the prophet. See, that was Jesus talking way back then.
Yes, sir.
That's why when he said, I thirst, and they gave him that vinegar to drink, you know what Jesus said? He said, it is finished. What was he talking about? He was talking about the prophecies that were spoken of in the old days. He knew it was over with then. You see? That's why we tell you, man, hey, Jesus, hey, you ain't finna jump through Jesus and go straight to the Father. Jesus knew everything that was going to unfold when he came. That's why he said he was a man acquainted with grief. Because you live this life and know you got to die and know how you're going to die. You're going to be acquainted with grief too. And all the stuff, the persecution that came with it. But ain't nothing happy about knowing your day of death. That's why he was praying, boy. Matter of fact, they told him, they tried to get him to go up on the feast and show some of the miracles he was doing. And it tells you that he knew they was trying to they was trying to get him jacked up. He knew it. And he told him, he said, my time is not now. Your time is always ready. No, but see, that's the thing. He knew when he was going to die. You know, when the Passover came, he knew it was time, sisters and brothers. But he was acquainted with grief. You see, he knew all this stuff was going to happen. He knew all the parables and stuff that was, when he came, he had to do that. Why? Because it was spoken of by the prophet. That's why I said all these things spake Jesus unto the multitude of parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled, which is spoken by the prophet, saying what?
I will open my mouth in parables.
Keep reading.
I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world.
Oh, that's what he did. He came with other things which have been kept secret. But now he came to what? Shed light on the situation. That's the dark sayings that he opened up when he got here. He said, I'm going to utter dark sayings of when he said dark sayings in the Old Testament. Now he said what? I'm going to utter things which have been kept secret. See, that's why it seems like it's a dark saying, because people look at it, it's like a secret. It's a dark saying. They don't understand what it means. But bless your eyes, because God has opened it up to us. But now let's go a little bit further. Go on to Psalm chapter 49. This is the last place. Psalm chapter 49. Psalm 49. We're going to pick this up at verse 4. One verse here. Psalm 49, verse 4. You get to go and read that for me, brother.
I will incline my ear to a parable.
That's what he did. He said, I'm going to incline my ear to a parable. This is still Jesus talking. He said, I'm going to incline my ear to a parable. And what else?
I will open my dark sayings upon the harp.
And I'm going to open my dark sayings upon the harp. And that's what he did. That's why it came talking in parables. So dark sayings open upon the harp, how with parables. I hope somebody got some understanding. Jesus. You got it,
Yeah. Our prayer is that the eyes of your understanding were enlightened by today's lesson. DVDs and CDs of the lesson are available. Please place your order in the offering box along with your donation and pick up your DVD CD up at the podium next Saturday. Please tune into Thy Kingdom Come television program, which airs at various locations. Also, join us for question and answer Bible study in about an hour from now, and every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via live stream and or teleconference at 860-970-0010, access code 343-531-334, pound. If you feel you are ready to be baptized, please sign the baptismal list at the podium or speak with Brother Tony or Brother Anthony. On the first Sunday of every month, we broadcast the Bible in plain view. This broadcast gives brothers an opportunity to read and or teach a short 30-minute class. If you are interested in helping, please let us know. The following is the dress code for our services. All clothing should be modest in appearance. Nothing tight-fitting, overly baggy, sagging, or revealing should be worn. Men are to remove hats and all head covering, and women should wear a head covering, such as a hat or a scarf, according to 1 Corinthians 11, verses 1 through 7. If your child becomes noisy during the lesson, distracting other members, please remove him or her to the other room next door. Any tithes and the freewill offering should be put in an offering envelope and placed in the offering box near the podium. Pray for our strength as we pray for you until next Sabbath. Peace.
Peace. All right, so like I said, it's a blessing to be here once again down in Jacksonville, and we're gonna try to switch some things around. First thing we're gonna do is 30 minutes after class today. We're gonna go right into a question and answer Bible study for about an hour or so. But every Saturday from here on out, that's how it's gonna be. If you leave, that's fine. But it's gonna be, that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna run it 30 minutes, have a chance to eat. And even if you still eating, that's fine. But we just gonna make sure we open back up question and answer Bible study. That way we can go and get the pattern set. And then we also look forward to some things next year as far as having feasts and stuff like that. But we'll close out first, and then we'll also discuss some other matters that I need to run by you guys. All right, but let's go and close out, and we'll eat something and deal with question and answer Bible study.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
Our daily bread.
our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
lead us not into temptation,
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endureth forever.
And his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of Israel.
King of kings.
King of kings.
And Lord of lords.
Lord of lords.
One true God.
One true God.
There is no other.
There is no other.
Amen.
Amen. Lord bless thee and keep thee.
Lord bless thee and keep thee.
Lord make his face shine upon thee.
Lord make his face shine upon thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee.
And give thee peace.
And give thee peace.
And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel.
And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel.
I will bless them.
And I will bless them.
Hallelujah.
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 In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Good class. I said to myself, oh man.